Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Back at you on another Thursday with the formidable, august Simeon Russell of NBK. How you doing, fam?
I'm good. I'm good. Had a busy day of meetings and junk like that, but I'm good.
Got you. Just want to say salute to everybody here. Darley, John Talento, Black Paul, H, Gregory Castillo, JRU, JN, John Talento. First and foremost, let me just say this. The elephant in the room. Obviously, as you guys have seen on my community board, that Simeon Russell's channel had been not banned, what would be suspended, whatever you want to call it, right? Flagged.
Suspended. Yeah, it got flagged. It's going to be suspended. I can't live stream on the channel for like a week. So I can't do the season opener. I had a bunch of stuff lined up.
Oh,
that I can't do. Because the season opener is on the 23rd. I can't do the season opener because I don't get streaming rights back until Thursday, the next day.
Did you was the appeal resolved or is it still going?
I submitted appeal. I submitted an appeal and they got right back and said, I think it's computer generated. So I don't think it was a person that actually looked at the appeal. I think it was computer generated. So I don't know. I've written a couple other letters to try to get to a person because I spoke to somebody and they said, well, go to this email so that you can speak to a person. So I'm just waiting to hear back from that.
Well, put it like this. First and foremost, you are more than welcome because I like to have you on for the season opener. So definitely,
yeah.
If you want to join stream. I don't know how. I mean, your YouTube.
So, what I'm going to be doing. I mean, there's ways to do it. You know what I'm saying? Well, there's ways to do it, but I'm going to be on Sportscaster, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. So I'll be, to try to make up for it. I'll be streaming on those channels. The problem is I can't even put a post. I can't even post on my channel, like do a community post to let people know where I'll be and send the links. I can't even do that because they won't let me stream. They won't let me post. They won't let me upload video for a week.
So guys, you heard it here, man. Please go subscribe to his Facebook page. Follow him on Twitter. If you're on Twitch, please go follow him there as well too, man. Because again, I mean, we got a lot of trolls in the YouTube community. Period. Let me just say this, man. For whoever's doing this, I don't know who you're doing it for or why you're doing it. But again, until I guess the proliferation of YouTube, all these channels, right? You guys really didn't have a voice, but outside of maybe your money. Or why? Sorry about this. You really have a voice or really any way to get your word out there before YouTube, before the internet. You had to watch the games, maybe send a fan letter that gets crunched up and thrown in the garbage, and that's it. So, I don't know who you're trying to hurt, but again, Simeon Russell, I mean, the guy's not making millions of dollars from this, probably thousands of dollars from this, right? So he could be doing better things because he's a diehard fan of the Knicks.
Yeah.
You guys a platform. So again, you're only hurting your own voice, right? If less and less of these platforms exist, no one's gonna care. No one's gonna care about you. Like no one's gonna be able to hear your voice. You know what I mean? And
exactly
any other platform, but when I first saw NBK, and obviously NBK existed way before I found it, obviously, but it was always known that he gave people a platform to speak, whether it's the phone calls, whether having a regulars on the Zoom. You know what I mean? So again, why are you trolling against somebody who's giving your voice? Whether you like a show or not, you have to appreciate what somebody's doing to allow everybody to have their opinion, right? And many times, as you see with Sim, where we had prayer and his mother and a close friend or the aunt or whatever, these stars or athletes, even if they may come in with fake accounts or they may not say anything, they watch these shows, right? So you may say something that might click them, might affect them. They might be like, yo, hey, I take it into account. They may not say your name, but again, your voice is being out there where these guys are hearing it. The writers are hearing it as well, too, because now they're coming on. When we say something, a lot of times they'll come and make up some fake rumor and say, oh, yeah, this happened, blah, blah, when we say it first or these other content creators say it first. So, again, I'm telling you guys, please stop trolling. It's not cool. It's not fun. it's only hurting you. So
yeah, it's crazy. Someone asked, "Is it the highlights?" And because I've been doing the full game highlights, and it's not that because the highlights are still up there. Somebody reported the 365 Knicks channel, which was basically showing the replay of the streams. It wasn't the highlights. Basically, it was somebody who reported the channel for fraudulent or whatever. Saying basically someone saying that the channel stole their content, and not the NBA. Not the NBA saying that. The NBA actually likes it when people put their highlights and stuff up because it promotes the NBA. And as long as you're talking over it and those type of things, then, they're not going to, as long as you're not just straight up putting up all their announcers and all that kind of stuff. Right. If you go, you can go to my channel and still look at videos on my channel. And if you go there, you'll see that the full stream highlights are up and it's there. So,
okay.
Who knows, who did what, but
just stop, guys.
It's just not cool. You know what I'm saying? It's just not cool. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, man. I don't like the fact you can't cover the season because I know that's usually typically, a big draw. I mean, in the past, 2 years you did you actually went to the games and whatnot, and I think that, a lot of people enjoy that. So, hopefully something gets resolved where you could get there on the 23rd. What is it, 17th? You got 6 days.
Yeah. So if it doesn't get resolved by then I'll be doing it on Sportscaster.
Gotcha.
I'll be doing it on Sportscaster, Twitch, Facebook, maybe Twitter, but those ones, Sportscaster, Twitch, and Facebook, because you can still have a community where people talk, stuff like that. So. Gotcha. Yeah.
All right. Well, good fortunes, man. We hoping that this thing gets resolved. And then obviously have those platforms. So guys, please go subscribe to the platform. Nothing But Knicks on Twitter, Twitch, if you have Twitch, Sportscaster, and Facebook. Please go subscribe.
Yeah. And Sportscaster is probably the likely one that people will go to because, the people know that I've been going back and forth to Sportscaster and stuff like that. So.
Right. Definitely, man. So, let's get to some basketball. So I was looking at some rumors, man, and it seems like there might be some noise. So you got your boy Giannis that when he went to, when he signed the deal, he was showing showing text messages from players who were like, "Yo, I want to play with you. I want to come on and play with you." And one of the guys who came up, allegedly, was a guy we talked about in Bradley Beal from the Washington Wizards. Now, obviously, they just got Westbrook, right? And they gave up, right? Didn't they give up a first rounder for Westbrook?
They gave up a first rounder, yeah.
So, is there any way? Because Bradley Beal, guy with space out, became a lot more efficient this past year. I think he'd be dynamic with a Giannis. Now, he's no longer, a really good defensive player, right? But a guy who can score in bunches, score in volume, take the scoring load off of Giannis, be able to shoot the ball, and can shoot a little bit more consistently, I think, than Middleton. Now he shot 35.3% from the three, but he took what? He took he took 3. No, he took 8.4 attempts this past year. Obviously, a bunch of guys were hurt. He really only had like Bertans. They were playing with him, but again, he had 30 points. Obviously, playing with Giannis, so that number's going to dip. He had 6.1 assists. He shot 45% from the field, which is a little bit lower than 47.5 he shot the year before. Is there any way they can make that trade happen? Or do you think that the Wizards are like, hell no? But again, the Wizards, they do have a lot of young talent. Do you see Bradley Beal being pushed if you give him Middleton and some assets?
I don't think so. I think right now, since they've gotten Russell Westbrook, they probably want to see what that looks like. So I think they're probably going to chill and say, let me see what Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal looks like and see if we can, they got Rui Hachimura, who's a young guy that looked good last year. They got Denny Advia. So I think they probably want to see what these guys can have, what these guys might look like, and see, how far they can go in the Eastern Conference. I think they're definitely going to be a playoff team, the Wizards. How well and how, how good are they going to be? How far do they go? I don't know, but I think they'll be a playoff team. So I think they're going to try to build around those two, build with those two guys for as long as it can last. I mean, they got Westbrook now for 3 years with 40 something million. So I don't think if they traded Bradley Beal, I mean, if they brought in Chris Middleton with it, I guess Westbrook maybe would be okay, but I think he'd rather have Bradley Beal there. So
I mean, if the Bucks could make, do you think that you could get away with a trade of Middleton and whatever, fill in a bunch of and basically the Paul George first round package where you overwhelm the Wizards? Because again, Giannis did re-sign that deal, but he may be like, I'm ready to move on. Not in a bad way. It's just if you need a different look, this guy is not a 1B type of player that can play alongside me. Not saying he's saying it, but I'm just saying it.
Yeah.
And a guy like Bradley Beal, man, is Bradley Beal a guy you give up the Paul George package for?
It's hard to say because he hasn't been in a lot of Bradley Beal hasn't been in a lot of like high level, high intensity type playoff games, and you haven't been able to see what he can do in those moments. A lot of people just in the NBA, around the league haven't really seen Bradley Beal play, because he plays for the Wizards and nobody watches the Wizards.
Yeah.
I mean, when I go watch when I go watch the Wizards and Knicks play, 50% of the fans are Knicks fans in the arena. Other than that, the stadium's not full. It's one of those type of places like. And what's crazy is this is a basketball place. Like, it is a basketball place through and through. But the Wizards there's no excitement around the Wizards. First of all, they're called the Wizards. I'll say it a million times, worst name in basketball, I think. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has no relation to Washington, D.C. The capital city Go-Go's have a much better name than the Wizards, right?
Yeah, but then the original name was the Bullets. I mean, that is kind of, I know, and it did only want to change because of violence.
Yeah. It changed because of the, they used to be the Baltimore Bullets, and they were the Washington Bullets, and they changed because between Baltimore and DC was like the number long time ago, the murder capital of the USA and stuff like that. Now, so they changed the name. I'm not saying change it back to the Bullets. And, they were the Bullets, not because they were the murder capital. They were the Bullets because, wars and stuff that took place way back in the day. Right. but
I'm just thinking of like the worst marketing team. That's like, yeah, man, let's get somebody with like, shooting a gun. Is like, nah, that'd be the most tone deaf,
I know it would, especially with what's going on right now. They could not call themselves the Bullets. It was still a better name than the Wizards, but they couldn't call themselves the Bullets, especially with what's going on right now, not only in the country, but just where we, I've told, you've read the stories in our group chat, stuff like that. But just a better name than the Wizards. Like, the Wizards have no relation. I could see the Orlando Wizards because of, the Disney World and all that kind of stuff, right? And, they had the name the Magic. But why the Wizards in DC? Makes no sense. It just sounds dumb to me. And then, the jerseys, they used to have the teal and orange or teal and brown jerseys, which were ugly. So like their marketing is just not good, and it is not attractive to people. It's terrible.
I remember that jersey. Oh, yeah, I remember Gilbert Arenas Well, Gilbert Arenas kind of made it famous just because he was good, but that jersey was trash. That was terrible.
Right. Terrible. And it had the wizard the wizard on it.
Yeah, was he like
playing
doing something like reaching or something like that with like a star?
Yeah. Doing something crazy on it. Now I like the jerseys when they wear the jerseys that says the district. Like they should do some kind of name around that.
Let me see which one of that is. But so you guys are always gonna be like beholden to. Oh, okay. You guys are that's not. You guys are always gonna be beholden to like red, white, and blue in some combo, right? Just because DC and.
I mean, I guess. I mean, Washington football. They got burgundy and gold.
Well, that's also because their old name, right? I mean.
They don't have to, but the one with the district, I mean, I guess the jersey is okay, but the name is what I'm talking about. The district, the name sounds better than the Wizards, but I don't know.
All right, so we've talked about this guy before, but there's been some news about your favorite player, James Harden, and that the Sixers are willing to give up, allegedly, to give up your boy Ben Simmons. But then Daryl Morey came out and said, no, that's not happening. We're not trading our best player. But it seems like there's been some noise because Woj reported it. They said that there's nothing's been, truly, finalized or hasn't gotten too deep a stages. But again, I said this, a guy like James Harden will probably have a really good inside-out game with Embiid. I think Ben Simmons, I think his heart is set on somehow getting to LA, after this talk with your boy Magic Johnson. You know what I'm saying? So do you think that, again, and I saw something else that said that Dennis, no, it was, what's his big oof? Kendrick Perkins came out and said that, Harden's being seen as the next Dennis Rodman, right? Super talented player, but radioactive, no one wants to touch him just because he's just such a head case. The guy was talking about he did his workouts in Vegas and in Atlanta, which was basically he was just going out to the club and, mess with the strippers and whatnot. So, do you think that is picking up steam? Because again, Darren Moore's not the GM; he's just an advisor, and ultimately can't make dumb mistakes. Do you see them pushing for Harden for a win now team? You know how many years?
I mean, they're already a win now team. Obviously James Harden is an upgrade over Ben Simmons offensively, right? Is that what they need? Do they need an upgrade offensively, or do they just need more continuity within the team? Do they need someone who's a little more serious about the game? And then is that James Harden? I don't know. I don't really know much about how James Harden approaches the game, but they need a leader. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if James Harden is exactly a leader out there on the floor. You know what I'm saying? So, they'll be better. They'll be better, right? James Harden replacing Ben Simmons. Will they be better defensively? Depends on what else, if they're able to put anything else around them, around the team, or what else they have to give up to get James Harden. James Harden and Joel Embiid. I don't know. They'd get better, but I don't think I'd see them doing anything great.
Wow. So your boy JN just put up, salute to JN. He said, here's a trade. Harden to the Bucks, Middleton, DJSJ, and Merrill. I think one of the draft picks, 4 draft picks from the Bucks to the Rockets, Wilson, and DiVincenzo to the Knicks. I gotta look at that, but again, the 4 draft picks from the Bucks. I don't even know if they want somebody like Harden. Harden's like the antithesis of Giannis, so I don't see that.
So Harden to the Bucks, Middleton, Dennis Smith Jr., Merrill, 4 draft picks from the Bucks to the Rockets, and then Wilson. Who's Wilson?
Not sure. Let me see.
And DiVincenzo to the Knicks.
Oh, DJ Wilson. Devontae J. Wilson. I don't really know much about him, but he averaged nothing really. He's kind of like a nothing player. last year. I don't know. I don't even know if they want to surround him because I think that the next star they get the Bucks, if they make a trade, he has to be a perfect fit with Giannis. And you don't need a guy like him who, again, is not going to probably take the game as serious as Giannis. I feel like Giannis, he would bark on Harden getting fat. Someone just said that Harden was working out with Joey Chestnut, the hot dog champion dude that always wins those hot dog championships. But yeah, I just can't see what Giannis and your boy was saying. But yeah,
looked like Harden was eating those hot dogs from the picture that I saw. Now it's crazy because the Rockets put out one video the day before that picture came out, and he looked thin, and then in that picture he looked big. So who knows if that picture was doctored at all or anything like that. But when you look at that picture, though, I was like, "Whoa, James Harden, what happened? What did you do?"
You know what Harden is, Sim? He's like the apex of these guys that they don't, not that they don't work out, but like they don't go full steam until the season starts. Like they use games to get back in shape and that stuff. But in the off season, they get sloppy, right? He got to be careful because one day his metabolism is not going to be with them anymore. It's going to be like, nah, I'm good. I'm staying in the summer. We're going to stay fat forever. And he's just going to be, looking sloppy. So I don't know, man. But salute to you guys in the chat, man. I'm really pissed about. So I was on Freezy's show early on, and we were supposed to set Sim up and gang up on Sim to refute him on many of his points. And I was waiting for
gang up on me.
I was waiting for you guys to show up in the chat. I'm not sure if T.O. was there, but guys like Kool Keith was supposed to be there. Who was supposed to be there? Chuck is supposed to be there. And I'm waiting for you guys for the surprise attack, but I don't see you guys. So I'm going to send an invite. Chuck B, if you're there, all you guys are in the morning, because Chuck B has something to pick with you regarding DSJ. He doesn't like how you come at DSJ. You know what I mean? Your favorite guy's Frank. He hates Frank. Again, I'm waiting for the. I was waiting because this is.
Hold up. He said DSJ. Did he not? I guess he does. Maybe he didn't watch the show. I supported DSJ through and through last night. From the top of the show to the bottom of the show, I supported Dennis Smith Jr. When Isaiah was like, "Man, just get him out of here. He's not a point guard." I was like, "Hey." Tom Thibodeau was trying to teach this kid how to become a point guard. Let Tom Thibodeau do his thing and try to teach him how to become a point guard. He's been playing well defensively. He was one of the spark plugs last night. Whatever he wants to say about DSJ, I don't know. I've been supporting DSJ throughout the entire preseason.
He tries to value,
but it's all good.
He tries to value DSJ by saying that Frank has way more air ball shots than DSJ. But I said, DSJ, take last night out, take even this whole preseason, right? DSJ cannot space the floor. Now, I'm not saying Frank can do it at a great rate, but at least he's shown that he has probably a higher ability to do so. He can play off of the guys. It seems like, even from last year, right, that if he makes a shot going, which you've seen is inconsistent, he's not aggressive, whatever. But DSJ is very limited. And we've seen many times. Oh my gosh. Your boy Chuck over here with the fake 9-0, which he is definitely not. 9-0-1. Look at him. He didn't even finish his food. Look at him, still chewing his food. I'm about to bring in Chuck. But here is the guy they call Chuck.
Chuck B. I remember watching I never got a chance to get into a chat with him. I've been wanting to get into a chat with you, Chuck B. And I see him on Freezy Shaw. I was like, who is this dude, Chuck, coming at Frank like this?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, what's popping? What's going on with you, man?
I'm good. You got any defense for Frank?
What's your qualms with Frank Ntilikina? Tell me what your qualms is with Frank Ntilikina.
Everything. He's not good. For one, he's not a point guard for one, right? That's number one. He's not good at basketball. His defense is overrated.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
His defense is overrated. I didn't say it wasn't overrated. Wow. I'm just saying it's overrated.
So, okay, let me ask you this. Have you seen the defense of the young guys without Frank in there?
Yeah.
Right? It's terrible.
No.
When Frank Ntilikina was in with those young guys, with DSJ, Mitch, Obi, did you see in that first game, because he hasn't played much he played some in the second game, but he didn't play with the young guys. Thibodeau used them a little bit more with the older guys. But when he was with the young guys, he put the clamps. He put the clamps on what's Detroit's young point guard, Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes couldn't move. He could not move around the court. He couldn't get the basketball. He locked him up. But when you look at the second game and Frank wasn't out there, Killian Hayes did what he wanted to do with that second unit.
All right, Killian Hayes was nervous that first game for one. No, that's a fact. For two, everybody looked good against him because he was timid the first game. And it's not like Killian Hayes have this reputation for putting in work. No, it was his first game. We don't know what he is yet. So you can't say he locked him up.
I think Frank locked that guy up. I mean, he doesn't have a reputation of putting in work. But I'm going to tell you what, if it was my first game and Frank Ntilikina did that to me, I'd be nervous for the rest of the game. And I'd be glad that Frank Ntilikina wasn't out there the second game. Frank Ntilikina didn't even get a chance to defend him the second game. He used Frank Ntilikina in a different capacity, which could be encouraging to me for Frank.
Well, DSJ played the same defense on Killian.
No, he did not. Not even close. He didn't play that same kind of defense on Killian Hayes. Not even close. Killian Hayes could barely catch the basketball. And when he did,
Frank Ntilikina was the best guard against the pick and roll his rookie season.
My God.
Yes.
Wait, DJ has never had a defensive, I don't say award, whatever, a defensive standing. You're basing DSJ's so-called defense on 3 preseason games. Frank at least has some guys' quarters. So Frank, has DJ ever shut down Kyrie Irving?
You're basing Frank defense on one aspect of defense, pick and roll. So what do you go?
No, DJ has none. DJ has literally.
Hold on.
I want to cut you guys off. I just want to introduce Joe Mann, salute to you, and the ever trolling. He's like, what's that thing in Superman split stick? Whatever that thing is, you have to repeat his name 3 times backwards to kill it. The ultra dimensional troll Josh is here. ESPN's Max Josherman. I don't know what his last name is. Oh, Josh Small. But suit you guys. But so I want to ask you guys questions on the game, and I want again, please, everybody, just respect everybody's. Just so that the sound sounds good and everything. First and foremost, guys, being that Sim, unfortunately, because we have trolls in the game, I shut down his channel for about a week. I brought Sim over here. I'm like Negan from The Walking of the Dead. I brought Sim here to basically set him up against all these zombies and have him fight his way to show his mettle. So if you guys just please give me the respect that I'm basically, such a genius at this game, I'll be greatly appreciated. But I have 4 guys or 3 guys here who's going to destroy Sim tonight. But let me ask you guys. I'm asking you guys.
Like I said last night, I'm sorry, Gilmo. I said, I catch bullets with my teeth.
Woo! Got him.
My teeth.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask everybody a question. I'm gonna go around so everybody can talk and whatever, right? So, and I asked this yesterday, right? Some of you guys actually might agree. Who do you think worked their way now? I know I agree with you saying that tomorrow's game, which I'm covering by the way, will be a dress rehearsal, right? Mm-hmm. But do you think if I'm gonna go each one of you guys, do you think that somebody worked themselves into the lineup, whether it be starting off the bench? And do you think that somebody that we originally thought would make it is now out of it? I'm gonna start with you, Sim. I'm gonna go to Chuck, and Joe, and I'm gonna go to Josh.
I don't think the starting lineup is going to change. I think that starting lineup is going to be the same. I haven't seen anybody from that younger group that has outplayed anyone that's in the starting lineup, or is going to do anything different within the starting lineup. Right? I know there'll be an argument for Obi to be in the starting lineup, but at this point, I think he's going to get more production playing against bench players than playing in the starting lineup. Maybe, when you get further in the season and he gets his feet wet a little bit more and he's a little bit more comfortable in the game, then maybe, you can say, well, he deserves to be in the starting lineup, because he's showing this kind of production. But just from what I've seen right now, I think he's going to be more comfortable playing with the young guys and against, the second units of other teams. I think that's going to suit him well right now. I think Quickly might find a way to crack the lineup of that second unit a little bit after what we seen last night. I know there are people out there, I looked in the chat and we found our point guard of the future. I don't know if you can say we found our point guard of the future right now with Emmanuel Quickly, right? Let the guy play some basketball a little bit, but I think he might have found his way into getting some minutes in that second unit. Now, at the expense of who? I don't know. Right? It could be. I'm going to tell you what. I didn't like the way Reggie Bullock was playing. I wasn't impressed with his game last night. He's a good player. He can play some defense, but I didn't see anything that made me say, well, why should he be playing over, Quickly or Frank or even DSJ? And I know he started last night. I think Alec Burks is definitely going to be the starter at that shooting guard spot. I think they, maybe in the third quarter of that second game versus Detroit, they started to maybe find some rhythm with Alec Burks and understand this is a guy that we can really look to knock down that 3-point shot. But yeah, I think Quickly might start to inch his way into the rotation. Let me say the 9 to 10 man rotation. Who's going to be the odd guard out? It's hard to say right now. I don't know.
All right, let me go to Chuck, because we all know Chuck. He thinks DSJ is going to be a starter. So let's hear his garbage opinion. So who do you think who's made the lineup, whether starting and the bench? Do you think it's somebody who's working their way in, and do you think somebody has worked their way out? I know he's going to say Frank, but that's worked his way out. But go ahead, Chuck. We already know your biased answer.
All right. First of all, I was on my way to crushing Sim, and you jumped me, and then you brought in reinforcements and changed the subject. But that's okay. I'm gonna let Sim breathe for now. I'll get back to him later. As far as starting, I think they're still gonna start Peyton, but eventually DSJ gonna take that spot, and the odd man out is definitely Frank, with Quickly getting his minutes or Rivers. But he's not beating out either one of those. And Quickly already showed in one game he could do things Frank didn't show in 3 years. And plus Frank's a butcher. So you use him to just get 6 fouls and then move on. So yeah, Frank's the odd man.
I will say that Frank's injury has hurt him, right? The sore Achilles, when you don't get these games. Again, I got killed on Sim's show last year when I said that Frank should have been playing those summer league games. Again, you got to ingratiate yourself with the team. I understand Fizzle's not there anymore, and I'm not saying that the summer league games killed him, whatever. But it's just you need to see more from Frank, and I think the underlying thing is that you just don't see enough of him the past 2 years. Right? He got injured the second year, right? He's out with the ankle or whatever he hurt the second year. Then last year, Fizzle and Miller, didn't play the kid, so he might be it by default now. DSJ. All right. Let me go to Joe. Let me go to Joe, Josh. I'm gonna go to TL after.
All right. What's up to chat? Hi guys. How we doing? I agree with Chuck. I think Frank is losing his spot. I don't think he's lost it yet, but if Quickly puts up maybe 3 or 4 more performances like that, then he's going to lose his spot. I agree with Chuck. I think DSJ might get that starting spot because he's adjusted his game where he's playing defense now and he's shooting. He's not as aggressive. He needs to get more aggressive to get to the basket, but I can see him slowly each game getting better. And I think with the work with Johnny Bryan, he's going to get better. The team need to help him too. I don't see any off-ball screens being set for him to get the ball moving. So I think they need to start adjusting on that to get DSJ better. I don't understand why Peyton is even on the roster. Peyton, to me, looks like pure trash. And the whole starting lineup looks like pure trash. So I think there has to be adjustment. Shooting needs to be brought in.
Payton, like if Payton could shoot, that's the biggest issue with him, right? Payton is still probably our team's best facilitator, right? We can sit and talk about Quickly. Quickly did this against C-list level players or D-list, whatever you want to call them, right? Say what you want about Payton. He's probably our best point guard option until you have Rivers coming back, which would be an interesting factor, right? Once Rivers comes back, has Quickly worked himself good enough to take over Payton? I don't know about that, but I do agree with Sim.
No.
Off the bench. And if they can work themselves away from Payton as Quickly develops, if Quickly develops quickly, no pun intended, because I know everyone has a stupid joke on that. But if he can work himself quickly in the lineup, especially from the second bench, and Rivers is producing, Payton may not have a spot. But let me get to Josh, man, because we know Josh is gonna say something.
Hey, Gary, can I jump in real quick just about DSJ? About DSJ being the starter. First of all, you got Austin Rivers coming back, right? Who's played on he's been in the NBA for 8 seasons. 5 of those seasons he's been on a playoff team, and he's contributed to those teams, right? If you know what Tom Thibodeau is looking for as a coach, he wants guys that know how to play the game of basketball up here, right? And are going to be factors on the floor. I'm not seeing that, and I'm not trying to hate on Dennis Smith Jr., right? And last night, he was a spark plug for the Knicks run. He hit the 3 at the end of the third quarter. He had 5 steals last night. He was definitely a spark plug. He did it majority of the time against guys that may not even be in the league or guys that are going to ride the end of the bench last night. The whole second unit did. And I'm not taking anything away from how the second unit came out and played hard, continued to play. That's how you change the culture and build the culture. That's what you want from it. So I'm not taking anything away from them. But Dennis Smith Jr. he struggles to handle the trap. He doesn't know what to do to handle the trap. How are you going to do that against a starting team? You can already see NBA teams scout you. They know the Knicks can't shoot, so they're throwing a zone at you. From your best teams to your sorriest teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers, they know exactly what teams do. And they're going to know that when Dennis Smith Jr. gets pressure, I seen it last night when he played with the second unit, even when they didn't trap him, when he had pressure up on him tight, he was not sure where to go, what to do with the basketball. He's not going to be able to do that against the starting squad. I'm sorry. Starting squad's going to take the ball from him all day long. Yep. Whatever he did when he was in Dallas to now, there's a change in his mindset and the way that he's playing, and he doesn't have the same confidence. He had more confidence coming out of college because he played the game his style and his way than he does right now. And I can see it. He's thinking every dribble he takes on the floor. You can't start the game that way. I just don't see that he's going to be a starter playing like that. I do believe that he has the most out of all of those guards. He's the only one that really has that that can explode. But I don't think that he has the skill set, the fundamentals, to handle full-time that point guard position. I just don't see it. And a guy like Austin Rivers, who has tons of experience in the NBA, never been to the Western Conference Finals, but he's been deep in the playoffs played in a lot of pressurized moments. Why would you have Dennis Smith Jr. on the floor over a guy who's been through the fire?
Because DSJ double Austin Rivers' career assists. Double his assists. And DSJ best year is better than Rivers' best year. Why y'all think Rivers is better than DSJ? He's not. Because
Rivers did it on playoff teams versus, and again, Rivers is not a prototypical point guard, but again, look at DSJ. DSJ's best year was his rookie year, right? 29% usage, right? First round pick. He was their guy, right? And I think that was a year before, obviously before Luka came.
Before Luka.
Can't play off ball, wasn't able to shoot. Again, we look at production. It's like the Michael Carter Williams thing. It's like, okay, Mike Carter Williams, rookie of the year. Oh, he looks good on a bad team. I say the Mavericks were as bad as that 76ers team. And when you start to build your team, Dennis Smith Jr. is stuck in a hole. He can't play off ball, so you can never put him at the 2 guard, right? He's not big enough to play a wing or anything because he's always 6'2". He needs the ball in his hands to be effective. And even at that, when we talk about explosiveness, look at his dribble, right? He had that one step, but the back injury and the 2 knees injuries that he's had since college or whatever, I think they kind of sapped him of some of his explosiveness. When you see him dribble drive, he can't split defenses. That trap comes, he picks up his dribble. He's not a smart point guard. Not to say he's not a smart person, but overall, as a point guard talent, he's just not it. He's a shooting guard in a point guard's body who can't shoot.
But yeah,
Rivers had 9 seasons with under 2 assists or under. And you saying he played on better teams. Shouldn't your numbers be better on better teams? You got better players to get the rock to.
But it's true. But the 2 times he played on really good teams was what? When he played with Chris Paul is always going to take the point guard position, right? Then we played the Houston Rockets. He played with what? James Harden. So he played all of them. I'm not saying that he's up. Given what the Knicks have, I still think he's the best point. Is he a prototypical point guard? No, not any simple word. But Thibodeau does not necessarily rely on uber prototypical point guards. He likes those combo guards who can shoot, who can play in a system, who can dribble, drive, score, create. You know what I'm saying? So he likes these multifaceted guards. DSJ, and I'm not issuing him. The 2 threes were nice, but he hasn't proven, especially against tougher teams, right? That first half when they were double teaming him in the second game, they were doing double team that all the time. As soon as Quickly comes in again, Quickly was playing against C-level players. Quickly sees that they sent 3 guys at him. Quickly got the ball out. You know what I'm saying? DJ just had that. But let me get to Josh because Josh didn't answer. Josh, and just hold that, Chuck. I'll get back to this because I need you in Sim the War. But I'm gonna get to Josh real quick. Josh, who do you think has made the lineup? And who do you think is coming out the lineup for both the starting lineup and the bench players?
Okay, first of all, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing, and I agree with Sim on this. DSJ and Sim didn't say this exact thing, but DSJ and Frank, I believe both of them on the outside looking in when it comes to the guy that's going to be handling the ball for that second unit. Both of them are going to be on the outside looking in. I think Quickly is going to take over that second unit and run it. I think that's his job to lose right now, as of right now. And I'm talking about after 2 preseason games. Okay. Second thing, I feel like Emmanuel Quickly does things that both Frank and DSJ cannot do. So I explained this last night. Frank, he's not as athletic, but he don't see him thinking on the court too much. DSJ is the complete opposite. You see him thinking, but he has that athletic. He has that first step. Quickly has both of them. And as you can tell, when they put Quickly on the floor, the ball was moving around, and guys, all of a sudden, Kevin Knox came out of nowhere, and the ball just seems to move, and the ball was going in the hole. Okay? Now, what you guys said about Frank about him being a really good defender, that is true. That is true, but defense is not the problem with the Knicks right now. The problem is offense. And if you can't put the ball in the bucket, consistently, you're not going to play. That's just how I see it. Okay, so I believe Frank and DSJ are on the outside looking in when it comes to the point guard position, actually bringing the ball up the court and setting up the offense. I believe they will get some spot minutes playing off the ball, but as far as the point guard position, I believe they're on the outside looking in. And as far as Elfrid Payton, he's the best point guard on the roster. He is the best point guard on this roster, okay? Point blank. Now, I like Austin Rivers. I believe when Austin Rivers comes back, he's going to get a lot of minutes as well. But he's not taking that starting job away from Elfrid Payton. That's not happening. Elfrid Payton led the team in assists last year, and he's still, for all his downfalls, we all know, what he can't do. He does a lot of things really, really well. And that starting unit, I think, is the best that we have with our current players on our roster right now. That's the best starting lineup that we can ever throw out there.
So outside of the problem. Hold up, Joe. So outside of defense, because we do our perimeter defense, if you saw yesterday, was trash, especially in that first half. We couldn't reset back on proper players. Guys were lost in the space, lost in the sauce. Like Mitch Robinson, DSJ was one play. They didn't know which guy to get. Like Mitch was telling DSJ to get the guy, but DSJ was on his proper guy and Mitch wasn't on his guy. So I understand where you're coming from that. Obviously we need more facility. We need better point guard skills. Like defense is not the biggest issue with whoever's playing at the point position. But I just want to give a shout out to Josh, man. This is the first time he's made sense in I don't know how many times I've seen this dude in NBK. So I just want to give him some credit.
I've been working with him. We've been working. We've been going over some pointers and stuff like that.
Let's give it to Sim because Josh, Josh is he's worked his way up from the slums, But suit to Josh for finally speaking some logic. But let me get to TL, man. Who do you think is making the lineup? I'm gonna play with Josh. Who do you think is making the starting lineup, and who do you think is making the bench? Do you think anybody's working, and do you think anybody's worked themselves out of it?
I think the lineup is gonna be as we expect. With Elfrid Payton running the point. Just from a consistency standpoint, you already know what you're gonna get with the dude, and he is the best point guard on the team. Me personally, I just don't feel like his style of play fits with the starters. Just because he can't shoot, it's very hard to work an in and out game with Randall when the point guard can't shoot or when the guard can't
That
shoot.
makes sense.
So that's just where I come from. So maybe when Austin Rivers comes back, maybe they might start him just because he's a threat to shoot. He can work that in and out with Randall. It's just me, my opinion. But I do think that that Elfrid Payton will start. As far as DSJ goes, the kid works hard, man. I'm not gonna ish on him. He's been working hard. You can see that he works hard. He's putting 100% in every play that he makes. He's not comfortable with the ball in his hand. I'm sorry to say, he's just not. I think maybe being 6'2" kind of limits him. Maybe he doesn't have a long wingspan. I'm not too sure about that. But you see how quickly he gets a different look automatically on picks. Defenders come over the top as opposed to underneath because he's the threat to shoot and quickly already knows where to go with the ball. If you watch him, he goes to where the open space is at on the floor. And it's natural. It's an instinct for this kid.
Exactly. Yep.
But
Yep.
I don't think I'm saying this not so he can start, but just like I'm just saying it in a sense to where it's like his style of play might fit with the starters better, but I don't think he's gonna start. He has a lot of growing to do.
Yeah.
But DSJ, man, like that's 5 steals looks good, bro. But you think he's gonna pick Kyrie Irving's pocket? You think he's gonna pick Westbrook's pocket like that? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not. He's not gonna have 5 steals every game. He's not gonna start, bro. I'm telling you, he's just not gonna start. That's not what I see. He might get some decent minutes off the bench, just to put give guys a spark. If the second unit's stagnant or something like that. But I just don't see him starting.
I got a question. Oh, sorry, Jojo. You want to say something? My bad, Joe.
Yeah, what I'm seeing from DSJ is learning how to play a defense and learning how to shoot. Maybe he's learning to try and play more off ball. And what I noticed was that in the game yesterday, the best he looked was when Quickly was on the floor running the 1. So I want to see a little bit more the second unit have Quickly at the 1 and DSJ at the 2. Because his shooting does look nice. He's like one of the best teams so far. All right, we got to see against in regular season under more pressure and better competition. But he looks like his shooting has come along a lot, and his defense has come along a lot. So that's maybe where they're good. Like they're trying him at point, but if it doesn't work out at point, they might start using him at the 2. And I think that could work because he doesn't have to handle the ball as much.
Yep. I mean,
I think that would be based on the lineups, based on the matchups as well, right? Because he's good.
Yeah.
If you have Quickly and DSJ out there at your 1 and your 2, you're going to be really, really small. So it's going to be based on the other team, right? So if the other team has small guards, then you might see DSJ and Quickly out there together. If they have larger guards, then maybe not. But DSJ is more natural. He's going to be more comfortable, I think, being off the ball.
Yep.
Being able to catch the ball on the swing and then just blow past somebody to the basket, right? Or if Tom Thibodeau lifts this, because right now I think Tom Thibodeau is telling him, we want you to facilitate. We want you to run your team. You heard him in that interview. We want DSJ to run his team. I think that's what he's trying to do right now. If Tom Thibodeau lifts that and just says, just play basketball the way that you know how to play basketball, whether he's on the ball or off the ball, DSJ is going to play his game. And then, maybe we'll see him look a little bit more comfortable out there. One thing I want to get back to with Frank, though, is we don't have a point guard, in my opinion. If Tom Thibodeau wants to play pressure defense, we don't have another point guard, I don't think, that's going to be able to pressure up the opposing team's guards like Frank will be able to. I don't think we have one guy that's going to be able to put that kind of pressure on the ball. Elfrid Payton does a good job playing some defense. We'll see about Austin Rivers. Maybe Austin Rivers will. But I think right now, without Austin Rivers being there, Frank is the only guy that's going to be able to put that kind of immense pressure on the basketball and really cause these other guards to get flustered.
No.
Yeah.
No,
I agree with that.
You're gonna tell me DSJ can, and that doesn't mean he's gonna be a starter, right? But in those times when you need a guard that can actually pressure up Kyrie, pressure up James Harden, pressure up Russell Westbrook, Frank is gonna be who. Let me ask you this: why do you think down the stretch of that second game, right? He put Frank in the game with the starters.
Yes, he did.
Not Alfred Payton. Not DSJ, he put Frank because they needed some pressure on the guards. They needed to try to muster up turnovers. So he put Frank down the stretch in that game to try to pull that game in, not DSJ.
All right, Frank defense is good when the guy is just standing on the perimeter and looking to set up the offense, right? Because first of all, he's mad slow. He plays defense with his hands. He's all hands. He's all. You know what Frank remind me of? Reeves last year, Darrell Reeves last year. Mad penalties. Frank fouled out in 11 minutes and 40 seconds. He's a butcher now. He do a good job versus slower players. That's why he looked okay versus Luka. And then he don't get destroyed, Legion.
He looked good against Luka because he's slow, but Luka cooks everybody else in the league.
He cooks
everybody else.
What are you telling me, bro?
Yeah, but
you just made the argument for us. Thank you.
No, I didn't. I'm making an argument for me. He excels when you go in east and west, but as soon as somebody decides to go to the basket, they go right by him. He don't have the foot speed to stay with anybody.
Oh,
and once he's beat, that's when he grabs. That's where his fouls come from. His fouls don't come from him.
I remember the game against the Hawks. Your boy Trae Young was destroying us, splitting the defense, everything, until they put Frank in late fourth quarter. And they sent him to set to double team up high. Frank was harassing him. Trae Young was dumping off that ball at the top. He's like, I don't want to mess with this dude anymore. Trae Young is pretty fast and quick. I remember I'm not sure. It wasn't a Christmas game. I don't know why I was thinking, but Kyrie Irving had that game where he couldn't get his shot off for nothing against Frank. He was losing the ball and everything. Kyrie Irving is probably the most talented, not the best, the most talented point guard dribbler in the game, right? Frank had his way with him, right? That game against Kemba, where again Kemba had 20-some points, right? But again, it was off of how many shots. And I don't even think Frank had him the whole time. And again, the funny thing that you mentioned, if Frank is so slow, why is that they always throw a pick and roll at him? Why do they always throw a pick to get him off the primary ball handler? Why is that he's always going through picks? Frank is constantly, you see him go through picks. Yep. If the guy's faster than him, he should be able to beat him. And you know the funny thing, one more thing before I let you go. He's the only guy I've seen in the Knicks that he plays you with his hips. Where I've seen him, because you say his hands, right? I've literally seen him guide players to the basket using his hips. And they're taking bad shots because when they pick up the dribble and try to shoot over him, he's like this in front of them. He's the only guy in the that does it. Everybody else is on their tippy toes, bad footing. Frank's the only person where you see him. You probably see him when he gets the bat. But he's playing guys off the hips, and guys cannot get around him. So, again, your analysis, and again, the funny thing you say also about Frank, DSJ doesn't do any of this. Besides these 3 preseason games, when has DSJ been this plus defender ever in his life?
He hasn't.
He's showing it now, but what I'm
I mean, he is. He's showing it now. We'll see if it's gonna, boil over into the season. I'm hoping that it does. But another thing to back up, Guillermo, what you were saying about playing with the hips. And I was about to say it, not the same exact things, but a lot of times when he gets those fouls, it's because he's bumping with his body.
Yep.
Right? It's not because he's reaching. He's playing tight and he's bumping with his body, and then they call that bump foul. Right? And if I'm going to get a foul, that's the kind of foul that I want my defender to get because he's bumping with his body. And a lot of times that bump with the body doesn't get called, but he gets called, and they call that bump and they call it. Right? And he'll pick up some fouls. But
Chuck, do you want to pick up the rest of your remains, or
you're all right? Your TV has failed you. Most of his fouls come from him getting beat and grabbing. him getting beat and grabbing because he can't stay. Like his arms is the reason why he's in the NBA. If he didn't have them abnormal arms, he wouldn't be in the league. He works them arms to his advantage.
Okay, regardless of he got long arms or not, the point is the boy can play defense.
Yeah,
he played defense with his arms.
And what difference does it make? You playing defense still.
Because if they bring back the hand check, he would be in trouble.
That's like saying, oh, you could score because you're a jump shooter. That's why.
Don't look like that. They don't call it.
If you take his jump shot away, then you won't be able to score.
No. Totally
you can only score because you're a jump shooter. Like, come on.
This is a physical thing. He got long arms.
Okay, all right.
Is he ever gonna have short arms?
No, but I'm saying that's his benefit.
Michael Jordan had big hands.
His benefit.
That's great.
So all of that hips and all that stuff you talk about, no, it's his arms.
All right. Well, I'm just saying this. According to Poston and Poston or one of those guys, Frank has the best per minute. He has the best defense against Luka. If we had a player on our team that could have the best defense against a superstar level player that everyone swears by, I'll take that any day of the week, man. But again, I think the injury hurts him. But let me ask you guys about another another player, which might cause some division. Your boy Mitchell Robinson, right? Has he not to say he's lost, but Nick G made a great point yesterday. Mitchell Robinson still is making rookie mistakes. Right?
Yes.
I look terrible defensively. And thank God Drummond came out. Drummond was having his way. Drummond he only played for 21 minutes, had 18 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, had a plus 17.
Jahlil Okafor looked pretty good with them too.
Oh, right, in the 76ers game, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you saw this, Tim. Did you see it when he was playing? It wasn't Drummond. I think it was the other center. He had 5 fouls on him. So Thibodeau had to scream at him, and he held his hands out like, keep your hands out wide on Mitch. Like, do not foul him. I don't know if you guys stood up, but literally Thibodeau was screaming at him for Mitch to not foul him. And it's not saying a coach can't coach you, right? But do you think Mitchell Robinson, a guy who only had 22 minutes last year, averaged 22 minutes, 9 and 7, a guy that we all think can he's flashed as a starter, as a top-end starter at the center position. Do you think he'll ever become a legit starting center for the Knicks? His fundamentals are out of whack.
Man, I don't know. I don't know if he ever will be. Just your straight up starting center. The good thing is that he's got some time, and you have a good center, a guy like Nerlens Noel who is good. That can hopefully let Mitch learn a little bit. And you got you got Johnny Bryant there who's coached some big men in Utah. You got Kenny Payne who's coached some big men in Kentucky. Right. So hopefully they can really work with him and get with him. The thing with Mitch is in the offseason, I don't know who he's working with. Right. And who's helping him to develop during the offseason, because, I guess we can't base everything off of those clips that get put on Instagram or whatever. But I don't know if he's really working on post moves. And I'm saying this not to say that he's going to be a post player, but when you work on post moves, you work on footwork, right? And that footwork translate all over the court and certain things that you can do. And it also translates to defense, how you position your feet on the floor, certain things like that. And I don't know if he's actually working on those fundamentals with outside of the team. And that's really when you get better, because you see, they had 2 weeks of training camp. You're not getting better in 2 weeks, and you don't get a lot of practice time when you're in the game. So when you're in a game, you got to rely on instincts, right? You can make some adjustments, and you can get better as the season goes, right? As you're making adjustments and stuff like that. But some of the natural instincts, as far as footwork, and those type of things, it's hard to make those adjustments during the season with your footwork and just the basic fundamentals of the game. You can learn throughout the season and watch film and see, well, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, and build your IQ, I think. But you've really got to work on those fundamental parts of your game during the offseason. And I don't know what Mitch does. you know,
And this is
and
the guy that we were talking about building around as a defensive anchor, and he doesn't even have his defensive fundamentals. And the defense has never been a question for Knicks fans. And Knicks fans were always sold on his defense. Offense was the problem, but now we find ourselves questioning his defense. You know what I mean? Like, this is the guy that we were going to build around. So when early on, when I was like, yo, we should trade this guy to try to get up into that second spot, I was getting killed. It sounded dumb back then. But I already knew back then that Mitchell Robinson didn't have those defensive fundamentals. Now, I get it. He's young. He's 22 years old, right, Sim?
21, 22, yeah, 22, I think.
And he has the opportunity to grow, and his contract is favorable. I get all of that. But at the same time, this is the guy that we were going to build around. Not so much anymore, right?
Now, the only thing I say is, like, last night, I think that, you know, I was wondering last night, why is Julius Randle not guarding Andre Drummond and Mitchell Robinson not guarding Thon Maker, right? That seemed like it would have been a better matchup for Mitch to stay on the floor. But I feel like Thibodeau wanted Mitchell Robinson to guard Andre Drummond to see if he was going to be able to handle Andre Drummond and what that would look like, right? If he was going to use Mitch as a starter. He said in the pregame interview that they decided a long time ago that they were going to use Mitch as the starter in this game, probably so that they could see him against Andre Drummond and understand what he can and can't do. They'll most likely find out again on tomorrow, you know, when he plays against Andre Drummond. And I'll be looking to see what kind of adjustments that Mitch makes. You know, if he makes any kind of adjustments against Andre Drummond. The problem is he's just not strong. And Andre Drummond is just going to power his way to the basket anytime he wants to. And Mitch almost doesn't have a choice but to either let him go or foul him, because Andre Drummond is just powerful. So anytime Mitch plays against a center like that, it's going to be a problem.
Well, here's the thing about Mitch, right? So I saw him on, I can't remember, I have it in my notes, but I don't remember if it was a third or fourth foul that he had on Drummond. I mean, I understand that he's scoring, but the footing was terrible. Like, he was literally leaning on, like, his legs were wide. It was almost like he's leaning on something to stop it. Like, it looked pathetic.
But see, I feel like that's because he doesn't have the strength. So he's trying to get as much lower body strength as possible to stop Drummond. So he's kind of like leaning, right? You know, trying to be low and lean. And now he's putting his upper body strength into him to try to stop him. And so then, you know, it sends everything off because I know he said he's now 250, but it don't look like it. It don't look like too much different than last season.
This is where the professionalism comes in that Thibodeau's talking about, right? You have other aspects of your game that are prohibit you from getting more than 22 hits a night. Your lower body strength is terrible. I mean, your footwork, terrible. Your defensive fundamentals, terrible. Your awareness, terrible. Because there are a bunch of fouls that he had too, not just in this game, in the last game, where the guy's driving. One thing I don't understand with Mitch is that when a guy's driving, when he initiates contact, like if he's a guy to jump into you, you can't jump into him because obviously the kinetic energy, you're going to most likely push back, and now it's going to look like a deliberate foul. Once he hits into you, you got to just put your hands up, right? And then you wait to him to see if he adjusts to make a shot. Too many times I've seen just make these ticky-tack fouls, and it's like, who, like you said, who are your coaches during the offseason? You know, I mean, where are you learning basketball from? And obviously, this guy has 6 agents, so I don't know. This guy's
I don't even think it's that. I just think that he's focused too much on trying to be something that he's not. Like shooting his 3-point shot. We've been hearing in the offseason about him working on his 3-point shot and like trying to space the floor a little bit more instead of focusing on the defensive fundamentals, like Sim was saying. You know what I mean? That's what I really think it is.
Not to cut you off, Pat. The game against the last game against the Pistons, 3 opportunities to shoot a 3, and he didn't look to shoot once. He didn't look to shoot once. Yeah, 3 opportunities, clean opportunities. But continue. My bad, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was pretty much what I was going to say. Like in the offseason, he's working on offense, but defensive fundamentals are just not there. You know what I mean? He needs to work on that. That's what he needs to work on, not offense. We know what we're going to get from him on an offensive end, about a bunch of lobs and dunks. But defensively, that's how he's going to make his money in the NBA, on defense, not on offense.
And just to say, I wasn't against. I didn't hear you. I don't know. I wasn't privy of you saying this, but if you want to trade it for LaMelo and we have to just give up Mitch, another.
No, okay. So and this is how I have a great memory. You killed me for that. When I called Sim's show and I brought up the potential trade that I wanted to make, which I'm going to give you guys the trade. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to do Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, and a combination of 27 and 38 for number 2 and Andrew Wiggins. I was getting destroyed for that, and you were the biggest person that was destroying me for that chat.
I probably wasn't even on the show. I don't even know what you're talking about.
You were on the show. I remember calling.
Show me on this show or on
no
NBK?
on NBK. Yes, on Sim show. Yes,
I was killing you.
Yes.
Okay, get the episode. Get the episode. Find
okay,
the episode.
I will. I got you.
Because we all know Josh. I know he's talking about. But anyway, let me get to TL on that. How do you feel about Mitch? Are you scared about his the lack of fundamentals? The fact that he might not never project to be a starter on his team. The fact that Noel looks better than him.
I mean, Nerlens Noel has experience, man. So he's gonna look better than Mitch because he got those fundamentals down packed. But I mean, I want to give Mitch some credit because he actually finished the game yesterday with those 5 fouls. So you could take it how you want it, but I'm glad at least he didn't get fouled out. And he started to look better towards the end of the game running with the younger guys. But I at this moment in time, I just don't see him as a starter. He's gonna have problems with the bigger centers in the league, backing them down and stuff. And I think maybe it's just a thought. Maybe because the lack of offense is why there's so much pressure on him defensively. Because you can act when the other team is scoring at will or whatnot. And then, they kind of slow down the game and puts pressure on Mitch and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe if the offense looks a little better, maybe he'll look better defensively because sometimes it's a rhythm and continuity thing. So we only get in a small sample size with these preseason games, man. So it's like I don't just want to write anybody off just yet.
That's fair enough.
There's a difference between writing somebody off and telling you what their potential can be. Like we all hope Mitch is going to turn out to be this really good player and one of our anchors, but he has not been that way. And this is his 3rd year in the NBA. I get it. He's young. You know what I mean? I don't want to give up on him. I don't want to trade him for a box of cookies, and I'm not actively shopping him. But what I'm saying is he is not as good as what a lot of Knicks fans thought he was going to be at this particular point. He's not even starting right now.
I mean, to play devil's advocate, I want to see how he looks against those small ball lineups because that'll suit him more defensively. So there's not really that big of a guy backing him down and putting him in foul trouble too. So you got to think about it like that. There's a lot of teams in this league that run that small ball.
Yeah. And Josh, I also super long time ago, was like, and I think it was, I think Kevin got mad and left the show, right? Because I brought up, would the Knicks use Mitchell Robinson to trade for that second pick, right? Kevin got super mad on the show, he left the show and everything, but I don't know if he left, but he was mad, he was hot, because that's his guy. But I think Mitch can still. I mean, any player in the league, in my opinion, any player can be traded, right, for the right in the right package. But I think Mitch can still have value, even if he doesn't turn out to be your starting center, right, or the best center on your team. I think he can still have value for your team. And when we start talking about contracts and all that stuff, you pay a guy what he's worth. If you think a guy has value for your team, you just pay him what they're worth. Right. I think Mitch can still, he did a good job rebounding last night. He's gonna fill out and get bigger and get stronger. You can see his shoulders, right? How wide and his shoulders are. He's gonna fill out and get stronger and bigger. He did a good job rebounding. He had 4 blocks last night. He was able to finally stay on the floor. Now, if Andre Drummond was out there in crunch time, would he have stayed on the floor? Maybe not. Who knows? Probably not. But he has a lot to learn. You got to remember, he's had shoddy basketball training throughout his life. From high school. If you've seen the competition that he played in high school, right? I mean, he was 7 foot. Everybody else was 5'10", running around out there. And then he didn't go to college. Didn't play in college, so you don't know through that year that he didn't play, what kind of basketball training was he getting? Did he even have an agent that could point him in the right direction? Don't even know. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really start getting coached until he got into the NBA. That's when he really started to get coaching as a player and things that he needs to do to make himself better. If you looked at him in college, if Mitch wasn't 7 foot, if Mitch was 6 foot, if you looked at him in high school, I'm sorry, if Mitch was 6 foot and played, he wouldn't have made it to the NBA. He's 7 foot and he's got a lot of talent and athletic ability, and he's got the ability to block shots, a good nose for the ball, and as far as blocking shots, he's got good feet, so he can get out and he can defend some guards. His defensive IQ isn't great, but he makes up for some of it with his athletic ability. I still think there's a place for him on this team. You know what I mean? I know people hate to hear it all the time, but you just got to let these guys sometimes grow. You know what I mean? I know you might have to use a guy in a trade to get better. And I'm not saying you don't put a guy in a trade just because he's only 21 or 22 years old. You use him in a trade if you got to do it to get better, and it's the right trade for you. But Mitch is going to have to grow, which is why Nerlens Noel is a good guy to bring in. DeAndre Jordan was good for him. I think Nerlens Noel could be better because he has a different approach to the game. And maybe Mitch can take some of that from Nerlens Noel because he's going to need it. Right, he's going to need it, and he's going to need to put in a lot of work to get better, to get to that point. But I like what we got at center right now between the two. And anyone talk about Amari Spellman is going to come in and take some of Mitch's minutes? Go someplace, please go someplace, because it's not happening.
When you talk about lack of professionalism, golly, what, yo. You get paid millions of dollars to play a freaking child's game. And you can't even come in a training camp in shape.
Right.
Remember that dude? Who was that dude in Toronto? The big fat dude, Oliver Miller. He's not Oliver Miller size yet, but Amari looked. These guys don't care about basketball until they're out the league, until they're playing in China, or they're playing in Greece. Like, damn, I had it good. But let me get to another player that I know you guys. I'm gonna get to Sim's favorite player last, but let me get to this one other player because
we've been talking about my favorite player the whole show.
Nah. We know who your real son is. Frankly,
we've been talking about my favorite player the whole show. I can go get my jersey. I got a Frank autograph picture, all of that. You know what I'm saying?
We already know that you went to the housewarming for JR, but we're gonna get to your boy later. I know that's your man, and he did have a good game.
That's not my man, but we can get to him though.
We'll get to him, but Knox. Now, people will say Knox had a good game, and I'm not taking away from what he did yesterday, right? Knox is a guy who I think needs to play with some confidence. When he's playing with confidence, I also think he's another guy, Sim, that when he doesn't think too much, when he kind of plays in a cerebral manner, if you have a point guard who give him the ball like quickly did yesterday, he feels confident just getting the ball fresh. I don't think he's a guy who's ever been able to. Not to say he's never going to be able to, but for right now, he has issues creating, right? First half looked drastically different from the second half, right? The thing I'm scared about with that success, guys, is that Knox has had games where he shot well, where he's had 20 points because he hit a few threes, right? Are you guys scared that Knox may never, or at least with the Knicks, that he's never going to be able to project more than somebody who needs a point guard to give him the ball to hit shots? Like, he's never going to develop a post-up game. He did show a little. He tried a Euro step in the first game, for that when he was on a fast break and he caught the foul. But are you concerned about Knox's overall offensive development, that he always needs to be on this high confidence feeling to get the shots off? Like, he'll never have a game where he's missing a whole bunch of shots, but he's giving you 20 because he's getting to the basket. He's being his man up the dribble. He's creating other ways outside of hitting 3-point shots.
I don't think he's a good shooter. I think he's a streaky shooter. And he don't have other assets to his game. Like, he's not beating you off the dribble. That floater is terrible. He's not a good finisher. So he's a one-dimensional spot-up streaky shooter, and there's nothing else to go to. And plus his defense is below average. Below average, I think that's it on that.
I think that he is a confidence guy. You can see it all throughout his game. Everything all throughout his game, he's a confidence guy. And when he's playing with, like last night, down that stretch, he was playing with a bunch of young kids out there on the floor. He feels confident playing with a bunch of young kids. And I think so he plays differently. When he's out there playing with grown men, I don't think he feels as confident. And you can see it in his shot. It's something to watch, but it could be that he is that kind of guy that is driven off of whether he feels confident playing or not. And that doesn't bode well for him if he's that kind of guy. Playing in the NBA is, something to watch for him, to see, throughout the season if he's going to how Tom Thibodeau is able to use him, and if he puts him in a spot for him to feel that confidence so he can continue to play well. But you want him to feel that confidence, be confident all the time. Right? There's multiple players on this team that, whether or not they are, it doesn't matter, that feels like they're the best player on the floor, right? You've got to have that kind of vital to play well in the NBA. I don't think Knox feels like he's the best player on the floor when he's out there unless he's playing with a bunch of young guys. And I'm saying young guys on the opposing team, right? And, so then the question is, does he ever get that? Does he ever bring that? Does he ever get that kind of confidence where he feels like that? Because you look at any, when Melo was out there against LeBron and those guys, he wasn't the best player on the floor, but he felt like it. So he could play confidently, right? RJ probably feels like he's the best player on the floor. I don't care if he's playing against Westbrook or Giannis. He has that feeling. So you can come out there and play that way. I don't think Kevin Knox has that to himself. So, I think that's a great question, and got to watch to see.
And again, I'm not saying that he's going to be a bust, because people try to make it seem like, I said, you said, I'm not trying to make it seem like he's a bust. I'm just saying that, you get, so far I've seen Knox's career is that when he has confidence, right? And like, I don't know who just said, I think it was Josh who said it, that he's a very streaky player. With streaky players, yes, they need confidence, right? So you watch a guy like Knox again, first and second half were night and day. Go back to the second game against the Pistons. He was forcing shots. Aside from the one shot he took from the mid-range near near the foul line, he had that one, I think it was like a 3 on the wing, where he had a guy right on him and he just chucked the shot up. It didn't fall into any rhyme or reason within the game. And you just see sometimes he gets flustered. He puts his head down like he did last game, put his head down, drove into the right side, picked up his dribble because he couldn't get past his man. I think he's one of those guys, like you said about somebody else, where he is just a react type of player. I think when he tries to process much of the game, he kind of alters. And given the fact we don't really have a point guard, he's definitely going to struggle, because if we don't have a point guard, obviously we need somebody else to kind of, create plays. And he's just not that guy. Like RJ Barrett, I actually think, and I forgot to ask this, I think RJ Barrett, not saying he's going to get time at the point guard position, but I think you're going to see a lot more. I think Thibodeau's going to ask him to create plays. Not necessarily as this point guard dribbling down the top of the key, but he's going to be asked to create up the pick and roll, push the ball around, maybe not get the assist, but I definitely can see RJ Barrett being a playmaker for this team, because he looks a lot better. Last year he showed glimpses, but this year, man, he's making the crisp passes. I know somebody said he was hogging the ball. I don't know. I didn't see it like that. Maybe you guys can educate me, but I felt like RJ Barrett was getting the ball out of his hands within the plays of the system versus, outside when he's actually trying to drive to the basket and hit it. So the first game he had a nice pick and roll with Nerlens Noel that didn't amount to anything. He had the alley to Nerlens Noel, I believe it was, or whoever the center was in the first game. I don't know how many assists he has, but RJ Barrett's looking like that guy. Do I sound crazy about that? You guys correct me.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Hold on. Before Josh goes, because I know what Josh is going to say, I'm not sitting here saying RJ Barrett has to lead the team in assists like he said on Team the other night. I'm just saying he can be a playmaker, but I'm not saying he has to have 10 assists a game. But go ahead, Josh, because
I never put a number on it.
Bro.
I never put a number on it. I'm saying in order for him to be the best player on this team, his offensive game, the assists have to be a part of that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he doesn't have that a part of his game. Like you said, he's able to pass the ball and get guys the basketball. But the next step in his development, along with the shooting, is his ability to get assists, because the Knicks don't have a consistent point guard right now. They can simply do not have that. And you could look in the NBA, any team in the NBA, if they don't have a consistent point guard, or if the star player is not the point guard, the star player on the team has the majority of assists. That's what it's in the NBA. You can look at every team down the list in the NBA. That is a fact. That is a fact. And Guillermo, you questioned me about Devin Booker. You said Devin Booker was the only exception to the rule. Prior to him getting Ricky Rubio, or with the exception of 1 year with Ricky Rubio, Devin Booker led Phoenix Suns in assists every single year.
Your point, but hold up. The point was that you saying that has to happen, but in all those years where he was leading assists, they weren't winning, right? They're winning now with the ball less in hand.
Well, they have a point guard now. I'm not saying the Knicks don't need a point guard. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the Knicks do need a point guard, but I'm saying right now they don't have one. So in the case when they don't have one, RJ Barrett needs to lead the team in assists. He needs to be the best player.
Right. But also but here's the thing with Devin Booker though, that with those Suns teams, and he had 8 coaches, or not 8, he had 6 coaches. Those guys all thought that Devin Booker should have, that he should be he should be like a Westbrook, right? A do-it-all type of guard. And that was never his game. Now, again, you could have, yes, they did. Literally, what's the guy's name? Igor Violent, whatever the hell his name is. They were literally, I think until Igor came was when they started to run more of the flare fist motion that Terry Stotts run, right? To get him more out in space. But every other coach before that, before Monty Williams, they were thinking, Devin Booker should have the ball, and it didn't work. Those Suns teams look like trash, despite the fact Devin Booker was putting out 24, 25 points a game, 26 points a game.
But it's because they didn't have a point guard. That's the reason why the ball was in his hands. That was the reason why. Last season, when they got Ricky Rubio came in and he led the team in assists, and they almost made the playoffs. They almost made it. They missed it by 1 game.
Right. But in those years where Booker had the ball in his hands, again, they were not winning. So you could have had a point. You could have had somebody else getting the ball. You could have systems to get him off the ball and have him more effective. But let me not bore everybody. That's another conversation for another day. TL, I don't know if you had any response to the whole Knox thing. If you think that
it just looks like Knox, he's taking good shots, man. It's not like he's forcing things up for the majority of the part, and it's just not falling for him. He's the type of player, looks like, that his offense dictates whether he's gonna have a good game or not. And as a young kid, you can't get hung up because you're gonna have bad nights, so you always got to make sure you give 100% on offense and defense, regardless if you're not scoring, get somebody else open. But I feel like he's the type of dude that if he does find consistency with his jump shot, I feel like he will get better, because then teams will start respecting his jumper. He'll start putting the ball on the floor a lot more, and you're gonna see a difference in that player. But I do feel like for now he does need a point guard, because he needs somebody to find him open, and so he can find those open shots and knock them down. But it's all on him to knock those shots down. I just want to see more of that.
Yeah, and the Knicks are going to need him to knock those shots down, because you can see teams are playing zone. They're going to need Kevin Knox to be able to be consistent from that 3-point line. They're going to need him to. So, we'll see.
Let me ask him about his favorite player, Julius Randle. Now, Julius Randle did have a good game yesterday, right? I know he did have the one spin, because I missed it because his freaking Fubo messed up the Knicks game. I don't know if any of you guys have Fubo, but Fubo messed it up, so I missed it. But other than that, and then he had another turnover. He only had 2 turnovers for the whole game. And that other turnover was actually it wasn't out of, he tried to pass to the middle. It got stolen. It wasn't the worst play. So, but yeah, he had a -9. I can see it obviously playing with, but that's, when I looked at his game yesterday, he was getting the ball out a lot quicker. Made a lot more quick decisions. When he scored that nice little in the first quarter, he had that nice little floating fadeaway, whatever, from the foul line. He bullied guys, got to the line. I was looking at that and said, I wish that he could have this game each and every day, because what did he put up? 18, right?
18. I think he's like 7-10 from the field.
That 18 with the 2 turnovers. I really want to give him 1 turnover, because the one turnover is just like, for what we criticized Julius Randle for, that wasn't like a Julius Randle turnover. That's just like a kind of sloppy play, but it wasn't a Julius Randle turnover. That 18 points that he had, at least in how many minutes he played, outside of the defense, I thought he was effective, right?
I mean, throughout the preseason, when you look at his scoring, it's been effective. He hasn't been the leading scorer on the team. RJ Barrett's the leading scorer on the team. He hasn't taken all the shots, right? So his scoring has been effective in the way that he's scoring. The one night he wasn't shooting well, He went to the free throw line 6 times and was 8 for 12 from the free throw line, right? I mean, those are the ways that you want a guy to score. Now, we were talking, Guillermo, after the second game where I said, you can see him getting the ball out of his hands a little bit quicker. He still sticks. He still has to make quicker decisions to get the ball to that open guy. But you've seen it in the third game where you can tell Tom Thibodeau is saying, hey, we need you to move that ball a little bit quicker. We need to make sure that you're getting out of the post, making the right decisions, the right pass to the right guy. And it's important that he does because he draws a lot of attention. You know what I'm saying? And if Julius Randle can make those plays to get that ball out quicker, the team is going to be better that way because he's going to draw a lot of attention. We'll see if he can continue to do what he did yesterday. But he played better. I mean, he did have that. He had the one where, Clyde was trying to reap some praises on him, right? And it was like, he was like, I don't know why the fans are killing him and this and that. And then right on cue, he dribbles into 3 players. And he's like, that's why the fans are killing him. Right on cue, he dribbles into 3 players. Looking at 3 guys right there. I said on the show last night, I was like, sometimes Julius Randle, you see you're on the highway and freaking there's a do not enter sign. And then you drive your car right into the do not enter road. Like that's what he does sometimes, right? He sees 3 guys right there and he drives right into it. But he played better last night, moved the ball faster, took better shots. If this trend continues throughout the season, people should be happy. He's taking, I think, 10.11 shots per game. He's shooting 50% from the field. RJ's taking 18 shots per game. He's shooting 50% from the field. If we can find some other guys to match that output, the offense might look a little bit better. I guess it's going to take some time on the offensive side, but we'll see if he can continue to do that. But Tom Thibodeau's the guy. If he's going to continue to do it, I think Tom Thibodeau's the guy to enforce it.
And by the way, Josh, your point on, and I'll get back to this, but your point on the best player on your team, or if you need a guard on your team, right, and they have to lead an assist, the Nuggets, who they're leading assists? Jokic.
Yeah. Okay, he's their best player, right?
But they have a point guard. They have a point guard.
But he's their best player. But he's their best player. But he's their best player. But listen, hold on. But you're not understanding my point. My point is the best player. I'm saying is if it's not the point guard, it's going to be your best player. Hello?
But
that's what I've been saying. But
Josh, he's a center though, Josh.
Who was the best player in the playoffs?
He's a center though, bro.
What a time.
Center really matters though, Isaiah, because you look at Sabonis way back in the day, and he was a monster at getting assists because he could play out of the post, guys cutting off of him.
But Jokic is one of the best passing big men in NBA history.
You're leading, but all I'm saying is, Sim, you're leading. Your center is your leading assist guy. I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with that.
Because here's the thing, though. When you're a point guard, you want your point guard to get assists, right? But it depends on if you're a scoring point guard, you're going to score the basketball. And I'm not taking away from that. But more than just getting assists, your point guard has to control the team. It's not just about the assists. It's about controlling the team. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about the assists. It's not just about penetrating to the basket and dishing it off to Mitchell Robinson.
That's how I feel about Peyton.
It's about, exactly. It's about controlling the team, putting guys in positions, thinking the game while you're out there, not thinking like Dennis Smith Jr. thinking, but a different kind of thinking the game. Right? A different kind of thinking the game. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes, like Kirk Heinrich for the Chicago Bulls, that's why I talk about Austin Rivers all the time with Tom Thibodeau, because Kirk Heinrich with the Bulls, he wasn't that kind of guard that was gonna just orchestrate everything and, these passes and that passes. But he was able to make sure guys were in the right spots at the right time, get the ball in the right position and those type of things, and so your point guard doesn't have to be your assist leader.
Yes.
Right. By the way, Isaiah, I swear, if you sleep, I'm kicking you off. But
Nah. I'm not even, bro. Honestly, I would get up, but I just had a very long day, man.
That's why I hear as soon as I hear the snoozing, you out. But yo, the Clippers, you know who leads their team in assists?
Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah. Nope.
Paul George?
Nope.
Who?
Lou Williams. And he's off the bench. Yes.
Okay.
If
so
you have
that's one out of 32. Okay, keep going.
For the most part, you might be right, John. For the most part,
you said every team. I just literally gave you 2, right? You can keep going. You know what? I'll have an episode where it'll be the slaughtering of Josh Smalls, where he provides like 3 or 5, and I'll just systematically destroy them. By the way, because come on, though, this guy, Josh?
1 out of 32, and you
John,
think you won that argument?
2 out of 32. I said the Nuggets. The Nuggets got a point guard, dogs.
But Jokic is their best player. Hello, what part of that don't you understand? He's their best player.
Josh, if they don't have a point guard,
uptick, man, because he balled out in the playoffs, bro.
Said if you do not have a point guard, the person that's supposed to have the highest number of assists is supposed to be your best player. Now he's changing it to that your best player is supposed to have the highest number of assists.
I didn't change. That's not what happened.
What about the Orlando Magic? They don't got strong point guard play.
Nobody care about the Magic, man.
Orlando Magic.
What about Markel Fultz?
What did you say?
Markel Fultz.
All right, that's a different topic. Jokic is the best passer.
Marcus Fultz, he's in the team in assists. He's in the team in assists.
I think they're setting him up to lead that team in assists this season. They're talking a lot about him right now in Orlando. Like, yo, listen, we're expecting a big season from Markel. I actually believe it. I think he's going to be one of the better players right now coming up right now this season.
Keep on believing that.
Wait, who's talking?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Who's talking right
now? By the way, the Celtics, another team.
I was looking around and say, like, who's moving their mouth? I don't see who's talking.
The Celtics, another team. Who leads their team in assists?
Oh, Guillermo, you lost, bro. Just eat it, man.
Hold on. I'm literally going by your stats. And I'm gonna let you guys. I know some guys other stuff too. Literally, it's led by Marcus Smart, right? I mean, he's one of the lead guards, but you would think it's Kemba Walker who's their main point guard, right? But it's not him. So, Josh, I'm
not gonna lie to you, yo. I'll pay for Jaws versus Guillermo, yo. Y'all both too hard-headed to quit.
Everybody wants to go against me. Everyone wants to go. It's fine. I'll take it.
Yeah, y'all both too hard-headed to quit.
In order to be the best, you got to beat the best. All right, so I'll take it.
Josh is the best. Oh,
flagrant foul.
This guy, man. But Sim, do you have to leave? Because I want to have a little after show.
Nah. I mean, I just told him when I was done, I'd hit them up. So.
All right, cool. And again, reminder, guys, Sim has been some trolls got him suspended. So please go subscribe to NBK on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and Sportscaster, where he'll be covering the season opener on the 23rd. Please, guys, please go subscribe.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man, we got to free Sim until he's free, man. We gonna hold you down, baby.
And yeah, appreciate that. And we were supposed to have Julito on the show too, but maybe we, for the season opener. But I mean, I'll still be streaming, and maybe we could just stream it here too, so that we do like we did before. I just won't be on YouTube on NBK. I'll be on the other channels, but we could be on YouTube. We can be on your channel. So,
Sim, you're being that you're humble. I'm not going to destroy you. I'm gonna aim this missile at Mark. Who's Mark? If you out there, I'm coming for you.
Hold on. Why you're like the Brooklyn Brawler. You get beat up by everybody.
What do you mean beat up? I'm undefeated.
You got destroyed by me, and then when Simeon destroyed you acting like your computer. You act like your camera froze. I saw you. You try to act like your camera's fine. You got destroyed by me. You got destroyed by Simeon.
First of all, I was choking Sim out, and you jumped on my back.
Okay. Continue point of DSJ then. What was the rest of your point of DSJ?
Oh no, it wasn't about DSJ. The topic was Randall just, and I was going to give my input on Randall. and
yeah,
how.
I didn't go around. My bad. Go, please give your input on.
Yeah, then we got switched over to Knox or something like that.
Okay. First of all, Randall's the scapegoat.
Mm.
Oh, here we go.
Yes, yes.
100%.
Thank you.
Can we go?
One at a time.
Let me finish. And I don't get when people say he don't fit the Knicks. There's no foundation set for him to fit into. Then you fix your mouth to say he don't fit next to Mitch. No, Mitch don't fit next to him. You fit next to the better player.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Randall is currently the best Knick on the team. Period.
Yeah, how many?
And possibly it should be him that should have more assists. It probably should be him that should lead the team in assists.
No, it's going to be Peyton. It's going to
be Peyton, but he might be second.
Yeah, he's second.
He's going to be second behind him because he's the better player.
Randall's always second. Yeah, and they say he don't pass the ball. How you don't pass and you second in assists on a bad shooting team? So you passing plenty, and there's a lot of missing going on. You know what I'm saying? So his assist should be higher.
Yep.
Can I please say something?
I feel like Randall is getting a bad rap, and after watching yesterday's game, I think Elfrid Payton has to do a lot with it, man. That in and out game is not going to work with him and Elfrid Payton if Elfrid Payton can't shoot. There was a play in the game, I don't remember at what time it was, but Julius Randle, he fed him inside. He dished it back out to Elfrid Payton. Elfrid Payton can't shoot. The dude closed out, so Elfrid Payton had to go to the rack and blew the layup. And I just feel like that's a recipe for disaster, man, because if you're going to have RJ Barrett and Julius Randle have high usage rates, what's the point of having Elfrid Payton on the court? You need to spread the floor and put another shooter out there. Because that's what Tibbs was saying. He was like, the league is different now. You have different types of point guards. It's not just one point guard. You have scorers and you have facilitators. I don't know, man. I just see that Elfrid Payton in the starting lineup is what stops the starting lineup from flowing.
Can I say something?
That's it.
And what he's saying right there about that 2-man game, that shot, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. And that's why Austin Rivers, Peyton may end up continue to be the starter, right? And I'm okay with that. But Austin Rivers, being that he can hit those shots, he's going to be instrumental in what the Knicks do. Even with Julius Randle, people always complain about, I keep hearing every place, oh my God, that 2-man game. Bro, in the NBA, you don't want Julius Randle handling the basketball, right? That's what everybody says. In the NBA, you play a 2-man game. Believe it or not, you don't always play the 2-man game, but you usually have, 2 players where you play a 2-man game. And it's not going to be every time down the floor, but you're going to move the ball. You're going to get the ball around. The Knicks had 28 assists last night, right? So it was not a 2-man game that bogged down the offense. It was lack of shooting that bogged down the offense, lack of shot making that bogged down the offense. In my opinion, they had 28 assists on 38 shots. That's not bad. And I don't know how many assists were in the fourth quarter. I'm pretty sure a good number of those assists came in the fourth quarter. But I think they had 16 assists at halftime or something like that. Right? Last night, I think they had 16 assists at halftime. So something in that manner was working. They weren't hitting shots. They shot 45. Is it 45% from the field last night? Ended up shooting about 45% from the field. But, something in that regard is working. And I don't care what point guard that comes in and is starting for the Knicks. I guarantee you their highest pass rate is going to be to Julius Randle, because if you're going to get him the basketball in the post where he should be, then a guard's going to have to get him the ball in the post. And the thing about or RJ Barrett, and people say, well, Peyton, he don't pass the part of RJ Barrett. RJ doesn't really need anyone to pass him the ball. RJ is going to be another ball handler that gets a screen, sometimes flash to the basket, cut to the basket, and, guys got to find him cutting to the basket. But people should get used to it because that Alfred Payton and Julius Randle screen and roll, you're going to see it several times per game.
The thing with Randle, this is what I wanted to Randle's game that you don't need a high-end level point guard, right? Like one of my biggest qualms, I mentioned this months ago, right? Passing out of double teams has nothing. Now, obviously, yes, having a lack of talent, sometimes you get pissed and be like, oh, if I pass this guy, I know he's not going to make the shot. But again, you have to make the proper basketball play because when you don't make it now, you put the onus on yourself of making a bat. Because again, someone could be shooting. I'd rather me pass the ball to someone who's going to score, say, 30% of time from the field, which is terrible, right? Or, maybe not that good, whatever. But at least it's a high probability of me trying to make a spectacular play by turning into the baseline and trying to throw it, skip pass to the other wing or to the other corner, or me trying to pass out of a double, like pass it to somebody across the court where I'm trying to go across the passing lanes where they can intercept the ball. Like that's just a low probability success play, right? That has nothing to do with whether you have a good point guard or not. Now, obviously, you'd be pissed and be like, I know that dude's not going to make the shot, but make it to him. But again, that's not on you. That's on the team to go out now and get a better player.
I agree.
They're going to get a better player, but it doesn't fall on Julius Randle. That's why I said last night game, Julius Randle looked so good because, like, dogs, you had a good 18 points. You were getting fouled. You were playing your game. And another thing, us having a bad point guard, think about it this way. If Julius Randle, not saying he does every play, but if he's less on the perimeter and playing more in the block, especially a deep block, because Julius Randle, he's a strong guy, right? If he gets that leverage, I don't have to have a dynamic point guard to literally loop it up to him if he's by himself. Now, obviously, double team may come, but if he's by himself on an island deep in the block, if I get into him, right, that's trouble for the other team. Like I've said, Julius Randle is shooting, 67% right at the basket? And then he ain't this dude that just literally – he's not Mitchell Robinson when you talk about it. He's doing hard work to make some of those shots right at the basket. He's bodying his man. He's spinning, responsibly when he can. One nice spin to the basket. He's making it. So he's doing good work. It's just he needs to do more of that. When he's inside the foul line, he had that nice little foul line shot yesterday. No problem with that game. So, again, a lot of these points that I talk about with Julius Randle, it's him. It's low IQ basketball. We can have I could be out there just throwing it to him. If I just have to lob it to him, okay. I clear it out. Maybe have somebody scoop around to get the shot off the perimeter if they double team him as an option. But a lot of my issue with Julius Randle is just low IQ basketball, man. It has nothing to do with.
Well, I'm not talking about him passing out of double teams. I was more talking about the two-man game because I keep seeing like I see people in the chat screaming about the two-man game. But I mean, you're going to get it to him. Julius Randle is not going to pass the ball to himself. And if he's going to be posting up a lot, he's going to be setting screens. It's going to happen with your point guard that's on the floor. Right. And then that's where, he's a big body. Right. So Alfred Payton is going to find him on a screen and roll. Or, I mean, you've seen multiple players when Julius Randle comes over to the box and then they find him in the post. It's going to happen that way. Now, there is one thing I don't like that he does, and hopefully they can figure it out. Someone might be on a fast break and he still runs to that block where that person might have a lane to the basket. Sometimes I'm like, yo, get out the way. Let that, whether it's RJ or Alfred, Burks doesn't, it's kind of been them two. I'm like, move out the way, let them have that lane to the basket sometimes. He's kind of conditioned to just run to that block on a fast break. But like it or not, guys, for the time that he's here, Julius Randle's going to be on the floor for 30-something minutes a game because, if not, you're not getting many buckets. And people can point to, well, the young guys did it last night. Tell me if they're doing that against starters.
Yep.
No, they're
You know what I'm
not.
saying?
Well, I want to say this.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to say because I see it's like 6 of y'all on the Julius Randle payroll, but only y'all on his payroll right now because y'all just giving this.
I think you're dreaming, Isaiah.
Oh, let Isaiah go. You got next. Let Isaiah go.
Nah, I ain't dreaming. But see, the thing is, right? Listen, and when he came into, I was excited. I will always say I was excited when we got Julius Randle because I thought we were going to get the New Orleans Pelican version of Julius Randle. Now, again, right, this to me, just a lot of boneheaded. Like his last preseason game wasn't bad. There's pretty much nothing I can complain about.
Be safe, Chuck.
Thanks.
Yeah, be safe. Be safe.
Be safe, man.
All right,
Yeah,
follow tomorrow.
All right.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, when it comes to Randall, it's just like the only thing you could complain about last night was him spinning into a triple team, which again he should know not to do that. One thing I say that I don't like about Julius Randle, what he has a habit of, that you said, Sim, when he like hands the ball off, he hovers around the ball. I don't know if y'all noticed that. Like he hovers around the ball, expecting to get the pass back sometime. That's one thing I don't like about Randle. But if we get him in position, Sim, you can shake your head, but he doesn't. He doesn't.
When you hand the ball off, you set the screen, and then you pop, and you're trained to pop and have your hands ready in case you get the ball back, so you can shoot it if you get it back. That's what you're supposed to do. Where do you want him to go after he hands the ball off?
I mean, not clog up the paint if somebody's trying to do the work. If somebody's trying to execute, stop being in the paint to have the defenders. He does that a lot too.
So you want him to go to the perimeter? You want him to go to the 3-point line?
I mean, I want him to stretch the floor, Jones. I mean,
but that's not his game.
If it's three guys in the paint, if it's RJ and Randall in the paint, RJ's trying to work. You got three guys in the paint. He's not going to be able to work. And I'm just using RJ as an example. But Julius Randle does that a lot. If you stretch the floor,
but here's the thing. Okay.
It's about shooting, though. It's about getting the other guy out there so that your other player can do the work.
It's not, and you stretch a guy out, and as soon as he misses 3 jump shots, everybody's gonna say, "Why the hell is he shooting 3-point baskets?" As soon as he doesn't crash to the basket and try to get a rebound, everyone say, "Damn, now he's not rebounding the basketball." You know what I'm saying? Now, you have to look at the NBA floor sometimes, because there are times when I agree with you, Isaiah. I look and I see, and I'm like, like RJ had the ball. I think it was the first game. RJ posted up right dead center in the middle of the paint. They found him in the middle, right? He went up, he scored, and he got the and one. But you seen Julius Randle coming down the side. All right, and it looked like, why are you coming down the side? Keep clear that out so that RJ can score. On TV, it's hard to see, the size of the paint and where they are exactly in the paint, and if there's enough space there or not. From the angles that you see on TV. But what if RJ would have missed it? You need a rebounder there too. You know what I'm saying? So, there are times when he dips to the basket when he doesn't need to, and he can, he can clear that space a little bit better, kind of hang in the short corner a little bit more so that, so that the guy has space, and then he can crash, once the shot goes up, but I mean, for the most part, and it's only preseason, he's been doing a decent job in the preseason. We just got to see, will he continue to do it for the
His best game was yesterday. Because even three he took yesterday, it missed. The 3 he took yesterday, but it was fine. It was in a corner. I think that was the only 3 he took, if I remember. But I believe it was in a corner, and it was a fine shot. It was just, it just missed. So again, when Randall's open and he's taking, the thing I get mad about is Randall, because people say he's giving you 20 and whatever. It's like, yeah, but it goes sometimes past impact when you have a player who, and I think Randall's talented. It's just.
But let me ask you this: with this team currently constructed, because everyone always says about the 19-10, right? Yeah. With this team currently constructed, if Randall is not there, are they better?
No.
That's easy. You guys
no. But again,
they're not.
I'm not saying this team is uber talented, right? But again, with the team that you have a bunch of young guys, right? This is not a so-called playoff team, right? Everybody's talking about development. I got to see what we have in other guys, right? If other guys with higher probability shots, or better, let me say just higher, but better probability shots, right? If Knox is getting more looks, RJ, whoever these other guys we're talking about, right? Obi, right? Just theoretically, Obi obviously wasn't here last year, right? But if those guys are getting more looks within the flow of the offense, that gives me, the front office, a better ability to discern what I need to get to make this team better. You got to
hold on to talent. You can't get rid of talent in this league. You got to hold on to talent.
But hold on. What I'm saying. But wait a minute. Those guys are playing not with Julius Randle. Those guys are playing on their own team and getting their own 25, 26, 27 minutes. So it's not like Julius Randle is taking the ball out of Obi's hands. He's not taking it out of Knox's hands. He's definitely not taking it out of RJ's hands. So those guys are getting their chance to play. And they're getting their chance to play without Julius Randle on the floor.
Whoever the guys are that on the floor, right? Because again, when I said Obi, I'm talking about theoretically, right? If Randall's giving you 5 turnovers a game, the 20 points is fine. I'm not saying that we don't want 20 points. If he's giving you 5 turnovers, right? He's overholding the ball, right? He's not making the right pass to the right guy. You're missing out on certain plays where it's like, okay, Knox can hit it here. RJ can hit it. Whoever is playing with Randall at the time. That's all I'm saying. Randall takes away from the offense. He stifles the offense, and he stops you from seeing other players. At times, it's not all the time. I'm not one of these people blame Randall for everything, right? I'm not one of these people. But again, Randall's style of play just does not fit a young team where you're trying to see what you have in everybody else. Yeah,
I don't understand how. I don't understand how when those young guys are not playing with Julius Randle. The only young guy playing with Julius Randle.
Knox never played with Julius Randle last year?
Look at the I'm talking about this year right now with this team. Look at the preseason. He has not played. He's barely played with Julius Randle. And if
all right, fair enough. If you don't think that they're not going to play with each other, then fair enough. If you're talking about just also last year too, I'm trying to say that it's just a style of play that whoever's
we still got the same point guards from last year too. That's the problem.
This is a brand new team. Every other player we can say, they've done this in the preseason. Let's see if they do it during the regular season. Dennis Smith Jr. is playing good defense. Let's see if he can do it during the regular season. RJ Barrett's averaging 20 a game, shooting 50% from the field. Let's see if he can do it in the regular season. But Julius Randle, he did this last season. This is new for him too. It's a new team. It's a new coaching regime.
Can I ask you a question?
Hold on. Hold it. Chill out, God. Hold. Okay. Go ahead, God. We blow up. Go ahead.
No, I can go. Okay. Yeah. I just want to say the only guy that impressed me so far was Alec Burks, because I think he proved that he could be a starter with this. He could be in the start. I think that's right. That's right. I think that I like the chemistry with Julius Randle, Alec Burks, and RJ Barrett. I like that team chemistry. I feel like those guys can win games.
Alec Burks.
If you're trying to win games, I'm talking winning games. I don't know if you guys want to win games or if you want to faith for Cade. I'm into winning games.
I'm not being for nobody, but I'm all about being competitive. I don't care about the numbers, man. This team is not constructed to be a winning team. I'm trying to win. That's the goal for this year. Be competitive. If you lose by 2-3 points, that's fine, man. I'm less blowouts. That's all I'm about. Because then you can see from there, like, we're just missing this type of talent to get us over the hump if you're able to compete in most games. Now, I want to come to Julius. I want to come to Randall's defense, because after watching last night's game, man, I think his play is affected by the point guard. Because that in and out game, I'm telling you, Guillermo, if you watch that in and out game, man, it's not going to be as effective if there's no guard that can shoot, especially the guard that's feeding him the ball.
I agree, but again, my issues with Randall, again, to me, when Randall makes the right play, and I literally started off, and during the game, I kept saying, Randall got another positive. So I'm not one of these Randall haters. When Randall plays well, I give it. Even the next game.
Nah, Guillermo, you're a hater, bro. Yeah, I gotta give it to you. You're a hater, bro.
Thank you.
You kept it for one day, bro. You kept it for one day.
Guys, if you say anything bad about Randall, if you critique Randall in any way,
but you say we should trade Randall. You saying that we should trade him, though.
I mean, the chances are
one of those guys that if you say one thing bad about Randall, right, he throws a hissy fit, right? But he's the same guy who kills Frank on everything. So he's again when he's. Me personally, I don't have any player that I love. Like RJ Barrett, I like him, but I like the Knicks. So when Randall's having good games, and again I said it, Randall had the game against the Brooklyn Nets where he had the last turnover, and people were killing him. But I said Randall had 30 points. He was a reason why we were in that game against the Nets where he gave the last turnover. So I'm not one of these people that killed Randall. It's just, when you're objective with certain people or you have an opinion, it's like, oh, you hate him. I don't hate on Randall. Sim, you remember your free agency still last year, where Randall we're talking about Randall?
Yeah, a little echo.
I thought that Randall was a good signing. When you had who's Mark saying, "Oh, I hate Randall," everybody was killing Randall. Not saying people were on my side, but I was one of the people. I told Sim, I was trying to tell my Twitter. I was like, "Yo, Sim, I'm gonna do an episode on showing how good Randall could be for the Knicks from the Pelicans." So I'm not one of these haters for Randall, dog. I just have an opinion on Randall. But
No.
you like, oh, you don't like Randall? Ah,
No, I can respond. I can respond to all those claims. You ready? Let me know when I can speak, and I'll respond to all that.
go ahead, respond, man.
Okay, first of all, you're the first one to say we should trade Randall.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's keep it there. You're saying that we should trade Randall, right? That's one. Two, you say he doesn't lead the team wins. He doesn't help the team win, right? Am I correct or am I not correct?
So when I said we should trade Randall, right? You drafted who? Obi, right? Who's a guy you want to be basically in that position, right? And Randall is a guy. Hold up. I'm gonna answer a question. Randall has a team option, right, for next year, right? They haven't picked it up, right? Is a guy that is producing, but we're not winning. And I'm not blaming everything on Randall. You're talking about a team that's trying to develop with a new regime. They're probably looking to get assets for a guy like Randall, right? Is that true or not?
That's your theory. That's your theory that we should trade Randall.
Hey, hold on. Marcus Morris put up numbers for the Knicks last year. What did he get traded for? Did we resign Marcus Morris last year?
But that's your theory.
We got him for we traded him for a first round pick, man, and Randall's a better player than he is.
Hold on, but Marcus Morris is not a theory. He got traded, right? So Marcus Morris, in your eyes, Marcus Morris should have been re-signed by the Knicks, right?
I don't know. I just want to listen to your take. I'm trying to listen to your take.
I think Marcus Morris is a little bit different because he's 30 years old. You know, he's older. He's a little bit older and not. You know, I mean.
I can answer that.
Obviously doesn't fit the Knicks timeline. Julius Randle's a little bit closer. I think they're going to look and say, between him and Obi, what is it that we want to do? Do we want to try to keep both? Do we need to move on from Randle? Chances are he's going to get moved, either traded or they're not going to pick up his option at the end of the season. Those are the chances. But you know what? Obi has still to prove that he can give you the same type of output that Randle does.
Absolutely.
You get no argument from me from there. I'm
ready to respond.
I don't say from that stance. I'm just saying that if you draft a dynamic player, right, you take BPA, right? More likely than not, that guy is going to be that guy. So, not to say Randle doesn't have value, if you say, but again, you drafting like that so-called star player or first round draft, what do you want to call him, for that position. The team is more likely than not going to try to build with that guy, unless he issues the bed where he looks like, all right, this guy is doing drugs, whatever. He's just an absolute ish show. More times than not, when you draft, say, like the new QB for the team, right? Football's a little bit different. You draft a guy for that position, you're staking your claim of success as a front office with that guy. So you're probably going to give him every opportunity to shine, which means you're probably going to move the guy who's kind of taking that space. Not saying in a bad way. Randall was here before him, but again, it's more likely than not they're going to probably try to move Randall for assets. Again, this is a team that needs assets. A guy like what's the name just said, we need stars. He didn't say we need stars, but we need to be so aggressive in getting talent here. We're going to sit here and say that Randall's not going to be showcased to get a pick for him. If Randall was that valuable at $18 million a year, when his option already been picked up, if you think he's that valuable and you're scared of him to get back on the market, you probably would have picked up his option by now, right?
I can answer. I'm ready to talk, but I don't want to take up all your time, bro.
Can I wait?
Hold on. I'm about to jump off. It was a pleasure talking with you guys.
TL, man.
Appreciate you, TL.
All right, brothers.
All right, bro.
I'm sorry you had to deal with this crap.
Can I weigh in real quick about this? So this conversation is kind of twofold, right? So Julius Randle is going to get traded. There's no way the Knicks are going to let him. Well, his contract is favorable for another team. It's an expiring contract. That is a trade asset that the Knicks will use, because if you don't use it, you lose it pretty much, because they didn't pick up his option for next season. Okay, so that's number one.
They don't have to pick up his option until
what's
June
the rush?
28th. They don't have to pick it up until June 28th.
Well, I think his contract is still an asset, though. It's an expiring contract, and any team that wants to basically try to win right now, but also have an expiring contract on their books and try to go, because this was the offseason, okay? This was all methodically done. Everyone wanted to go out and go get Giannis. Now that he's off the board, it's kind of crazy. Now that he's off the board, but the whole purpose of Julius Randle's contract was for Giannis. Okay, so I believe that he is going to get traded and he is a trade asset, but at the same time, you can't knock Julius Randle for his flaws, because we all know what we have in Julius Randle. And the point is that once you take Julius Randle off this current roster, there's no one else that's going to be able to put up the same amount of production. So all this criticizing Julius Randle and saying that for everything that that he does, he turns the ball over too many times. That you have what you have with him, the positives and the negatives. You have all of that. There's nobody else on the roster that's better. There's nobody else.
I mean,
let me know. I want to say some things.
Oh, go ahead, guy. Go ahead.
So first of all, that Marcus Morris, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. That Marcus Morris situation had to do with Rich Paul not giving Marcus Morris a chance to play for the Clippers. The Knicks went after. The Knicks stole him from the Spurs. The Knicks made him. Offered him, and they spoke. They asked him, "Who do you want to play for, the Lakers or the Clippers?" They went for the Clippers. Fine, we trade you to the Clippers, and this, that, and the third. He fired Rich Paul for that situation. That was a whole situation between Rich Paul and Marcus Morris. That was the main reason he got traded. Again, let's remember that Steve Mills did not even want to trade him. Now,
which he was an idiot.
Steve Mills. Everybody look at Steve Mills as an idiot, right? You're not using Marcus Morris. And the thing about, we're talking about talent, right? If you can, Marcus Morris, when he first signed with the Knicks, was not going to get you a first-round pick. Marcus Morris, after he shot 40% from three, and was putting up 17 points a game. I don't remember his average, right? It wasn't like, yo, this is a 3-and-D player that we can use. I'm saying that. So again, Marcus Morris's talent got him that trade to the Clippers, not this Rich Paul. Oh, I'm going to go back. Because why would he just give up a first rounder for a Marcus Morris if he's not producing those numbers? You're not giving up a first rounder for a legit.
I kind of got lost with your argument, but I just wanted to say this real quick. I don't think Julius Randle's being showcased. I think he's here long term. It's a long-term thing.
Can I respond to that?
I think you guys are creating so many false narratives. You guys are creating your own dreams. It's not true, bro. Julius Randle. I'm gonna stick with my own two. I gotta stand on my own two. Julius Randle's gonna be here for a while. He could play either forward, like he said. He could play either forward position. The game is positionless, and he could play center. He could come off the bench or he can start. It doesn't matter. I think the Knicks need a piece like him. So I don't understand.
If you want to put money on it, put $10 up. Have a fun bet. Let's put $10 up.
Okay, let's put $10 on it. As I said, we put it over. Get it over.
Julius Randle will stay he'll be with the Knicks past this season.
They're picking up that contract. That contract is gonna get picked up, bro. It doesn't have to be on your time. We're not on your time. It's on his time and we on your time.
Can I say something?
All right, go ahead, Isaiah.
I mean, I'll spot you that $10 you about to lose.
Okay, fine.
At the end of the day, right? They drafted his replacement. I mean, look, right? I'll keep it to football, right? The Packers picked up Jordan Love. No matter what people think, no matter how many yards Aaron Rodgers throws, he's gonna play sooner than later. Oh, I mean, Randle is not. Randle is gone. I'm sorry. Randle's gonna.
Can I ask you a question though? Can I ask you a question? Right? Yes, they drafted Obi, and I'm not saying that most likely, that Randle's not gonna get traded. He's probably going to. I think he's probably gonna get traded at some point. But I do think they are looking to see if Obi can be that replacement. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone said, this is what happens all the time. Everyone said Obi can spread the floor. Really? Has he spread the floor yet?
Yeah, boy, has
he been the guy that can knock down 3-point shots yet? Wait. Let me finish. Because we got a long time to go. But has he proven that he can dominate in the post yet?
No.
Has he proven that he can get the ball off the rim and go coast to coast and be that kind of a four yet?
Not yet, no.
No, he hasn't proved it yet. So I don't think that they're automatically just saying, yep, we got to just go ahead and move Randle. I think they're going to look at Obi's development first. Because as much as I do like Obi, and I do like Obi, he's going to be 23 in March. He's only 3 years younger than Julius Randle.
I want to respond to Isaiah real fast. It's going to be real
quick. Hold on. Let Josh go. There you go, guys.
All right. So listen, I think Julius Randle's out the door. and I think it's going to be via trade. They're not going to let But I think the only chance that Julius Randle sticks around on this team for next season is if the Knicks can't find anybody else. As if they crap out in free agency like they've been doing for the past couple of years.
That doesn't exist. If people wanted him, they will go after him. I don't believe that narrative that they can't trade him because nobody wants him. I think that's an idea you guys want to create.
I didn't say that.
No, you guys are creating this whole thing. Oh, they can't get rid of him. No, there's no takers for Julius Randle.
But God of Moses, look at his contract structure. Look how
it doesn't matter. It's a good contract.
God, hold on.
Look how it's structured, God.
Hold up. God, you have to listen to what people said. Josh did not say that. He said the only way he could see Julius Randle staying on the team, right, is if they can't get a trade from him and they strike out in free agency. You didn't argue.
I thought he's talking about the deadline. I'm sorry. I thought he was talking about the trade. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so let me just finish real quick. So not only that, but to Sim's point, if Obi Toppin doesn't develop, let's say Julius Randle's gone and they don't feel like Obi Toppin is at that level yet where he's able to take over that starting role, they can always go out and get another forward. Just like they did with Mitchell Robinson when they went out to go pick up Nerlens Noel. You know what I mean? So there's a couple ways they can go about it. But if you had to ask me to put my money on it, I think Julius Randle is gone at the trade deadline this year because of his contract.
And just to respond to what you said, if Julius Randle is going to go, they're not going to wait to find out until free agency, right? Because you have to decide before free agency if you're going to pick up his option. Right. So you got to decide by June 28th if you're going to pick up his option or not. So if he's going to be traded, I mean, I guess you can still, so if you pick up his option, that means that you got him for the next year. Right. I guess you can still trade him during free agency or something like that. So if Julius Randle is going to get moved, it's going to be at the deadline or it would be at the draft.
Right.
I just want
and looking at free agency this year for 2021, it's not going to be what people thought.
Right, Giannis.
And this is why I would have traded him earlier. I would have traded him, and I would have potentially traded Mitchell Robinson earlier during this draft. That's what I would have done.
Okay. So let me just super chats. Yo, guys, please subscribe to Die Hard Knicks podcast. This boy's putting in a lot of work. Well, he's not a boy's man, but you know what I mean. Guys putting a lot of work. He said, "Here's my $10. Randall's out of here." And Kaiser Sosa, get Randall up out of here, man. Salute to you guys for the $10.
Got you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got to head out.
I want to say something real fast.
All right, this will be the last thing we got to get. What do you want to say, God?
No, I wanted to. Sorry, first of all, I want to apologize, Josh. I was assuming you're talking about the trade deadline.
Good, man. You're good.
And you talk about free agency. Just want to cash that out. Second thing is to respond to Isaiah. Look, the Cleveland Cavaliers have Kevin Love. They made a trade for Larry Nance Jr. and Jordan Clarkson, and they still re-signed Kevin Love, and they re-signed Larry Nance Jr. I think he's in a new contract. Correct me if I'm wrong. Long story short, you don't have to get rid of players for the sake of getting rid of them.
Are you
Julius Randle's not going nowhere, bro.
Are you seriously trying to talk about the Cavs as smart GM moves?
Yes, they are. I think sometimes we're overestimating ourselves. We got to stop overestimating ourselves.
You know how many times they're trying to trade Kevin Love? You know how many times they're trying to trade Kevin Love?
He ain't going nowhere.
Well, you know what?
All right, let me do these guys. Yo,
my bad.
You gotta be out. Salute to you. Thank you. The chaos wasn't as much as I wanted on you, man. I had my shooters like Keith missing, and he came in late. But salute to you, Sim. Thank you for joining us again, guys. Some stupid trolls kicks him off. Not kicked, but got him suspended. So please go.
Free Simeon Russell.
Twitch and which one did I miss? And Sportscaster. We also become the first game. Hopefully we could do it together. But guys, please subscribe to his channels just to make sure you are on all his other alternate platforms. He doesn't get screwed over by these idiotic trolls that's out there. But salute you, Sim.
Appreciate it.
Just fun, man.
No doubt. Yeah, appreciate you guys. And yeah, definitely. I'll be, tomorrow night after the game, I'll be streaming, but it'll be on Sportscaster. Like you said, Twitch, FB. Most of you guys are probably familiar with Sportscaster, so you can jump over to Sportscaster. I can't even put a post to tell everybody where to go. So we'll see how it goes from there. I'm going to try to get it out on Twitter and stuff like that. But I appreciate you guys. I'm headed over to Knickish to do a little 20-minute show with them, and then I'm going to the basketball court.
Yes, sir. I don't even better work on that game before I bust your ass.
All right. Wow,
I'm not even gonna respond to that.
Yeah,
I'm
just don't even.
Peace. I'm out of here.
Peace, all right, now, God, what did you God? When Sim is on, right? You gotta let a head honcho kind of get his thought. You're so and even as confused as Josh is, you know what I mean? You didn't even argue Josh's point. You're just like foaming at like it's okay, man. I like the energy, but just let people get their stuff out, and then I'll let you go. And I know I give you credit. I did cut you off a few times where I was supposed to go to you and we didn't get you, so I apologize for that. But just breathe a little bit. It's okay, man. You're muted, by the way. Hold on. My bad. Go ahead.
I don't know how you're quick to when you want to step in, you're very good at it. I try to step in. I don't know how to step in like the way you do, bro. I've been trying to step in. I'm like, yo, I'm like, how the hell does Guillermo get like 3 or 4? Yo, dude, you do like 3 or 4 takes to my win. I'm like,
because bro, when I come in, it's smooth. You see how smooth you know what you do, guy? You know what you do? You do this. Yo, can I talk now? Yo, I haven't talked in like 5 years, man. Can I talk now?
Because I'm waiting, bro. I'm like, I'm trying to
just say. But can I say it's Josh, man? When I talk about Randall, because again, I tell you each and every time, I'm not a fan of any of these players. Like I joke around when I say RJ Barrett's my son. I just like his attitude. But if RJ Barrett sucks, he's out of here. This next team sucks. We're terrible. Okay. But you're gonna sit and tell me when Randall does good plays. I literally do the call play by play. I don't know if you did, but I give him credit when he does good.
You look, I'm not gonna take away. I'm not gonna take the credit. I'm not gonna take the credit you have given. But I'm not gonna act like I haven't heard you say he's not a good fit. We should trade him right away as soon as we can. I will trade him if I can get anything out of Julius Randle. I will do it in a heartbeat. I'm not gonna act like you don't talk like that.
I do. I think me personally, I just don't.
So we gotta keep that in context.
I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not.
Right.
Mitch Richmond, I think he's one of my favorite point guard, shooting guards to watch. Right, was on the Kings those years. If anybody remember Mitch Richmond, this dude was a dog. Right, we'll put up numbers. Those King years before Chris Webber came, I think 90, he was to 97, 98, they were trash, right? Trash. He wasn't a fit for basically making those guys better. Chris Webber comes. Chris Webber obviously is a Hall of Famer. Mitch Richmond's also a Hall of Famer too. Mitch Richmond Juice Randle comes. Not Juice Randle. Chris Webber comes, and that team is in the playoffs. Again, I'm not talking about, I never said Juice Randle's not a productive player or a talented player. But I'm talking about fit. I do not think he's a fit in the team. Now, I'll give you credit. He is not. He's been hindered by lack of good point guard play. But a lot of my qualms with him don't really come from point guard play. It comes from him making stupid decisions. It's like, dog, you don't have to do some of the things you're doing.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask a question. Okay, sure. When you say Guillermo, when you say fit, are you talking about you want to see all the younger guys play? Is that what you're talking about, or are you talking about as far as scheme is concerned?
Right. So where he fits, right? I don't need to see Julius Randle dribbling at the top of the key like he's Jokic, because he's not. He doesn't play like Jokic. I don't need to see go like this. Let me refine what I'm saying. When Julius Randle drives straight to the basket, right, off of a pass, whatever, and he just goes straight and he does like one spin move, and he's I to this day, there are not many guys who can stay in front of him. I'll say to this day, not many guys because he's a powerful dude. He's a bowling ball. When he's on the block and he catches it deep in the post and he does a little bump and then puts it in and one sometimes. Or you know what another Julius Randle thing that he does that I think that he's a little bit skilled at and that no one talks about? He does an AD move, right? Watch him in the post, right? Sometimes he does that turnaround thing. Even though AD does it faster, he'll turn around. If you're guarding, right, he has his back to you. He'll turn around quickly and do the scoop thing to try to force the foul, right? I give him credit for that. But the thing about Julius Randle, he'll sit there and he'll do triple spin moves. It's like, dogs, what are you doing?
Triple spin moves? That's excessive.
Hold up, guys. Am I lying?
But that's last year. I don't want to. Last year
in the game, please.
No. So I think everything that you said is true in regards to Julius Randle. But like you see on the same plays that he gets the turnovers on, are some of the plays that he actually makes buckets on. So what I'm saying is you have to take the good with the bad with Julius Randle. He is the best player on the team. Outside of RJ Barrett, he's the best player on the team. Okay. And the only reason why I'm saying that Randle's better than RJ is because Randle can get more assists right now. That's the only reason why I'm saying that.
That's a great point. You actually gonna go to my point. Guy, I got you next, guy. I know you want to go next. But how about this, right? Do you think that Julius Randle's game if he took away that aspect of some of these extreme moves that he's making, do you think that he can refine his game or play in more of a high probability position in the scheme where he could get those same points you're talking about and get less turnovers?
Do I think that he can play in a different scheme and get the same production?
Right. So some of the points that he has are effective. Like I said, when he gets it deep on the block and puts it up, no. Do you think that if he did more of that and was doing less of the triple, and I was obviously triple, I'm being, hyperbolic.
Right.
If he did less of those spin moves that leads to turnovers, right? Do you think he'd be in a more of a, he can be just an effective player, if not even more?
Yes.
Josh, that's all I've been saying. Josh,
well, hold on, but this is the retort to that argument. The Knicks don't have anybody else to run any other type of system. That's the point. That's the whole.
Josh, you didn't hear what I said. When he catches it deep in the post, give me more of that and less of you at the top of the key. Because you know why? Me dumping it to you in a post, right? You don't need a top level point guard. Now, if you're talking about pick and pop, pick and roll, I agree with you. You need a point guard to be able to do that, and you also need a point guard. I agree with you. If you have him in a post, it'd be preferable to have a point guard who can shoot or a guard period who can shoot because you're going to double team Julius Randle. He has to pass. Anybody has to pass it out. When you get a double team in the post, you can't get into you have to pass it out. But again, let me see more of him in the post because yes, there are many times where he doesn't get double team. Many teams sometimes leave him on the island because they don't make a stupid play.
I think the problem is the Knicks don't have another slasher outside of RJ Barrett. I think that's the problem. It's a roster problem. It's not him. That's the thing. It's a roster issue. It's not the fact that Julius Randle is always taking the ball out from the top. That's not the issue.
And Josh, don't take it as me saying that. Again, I'm going to say it's for umpteen time. Julius Randle is not the only or main problem on this team. I'm not.
No, I got you.
Okay, I'm just making sure you don't think that. I think that these teams sucks because of Julius Randle. Trust me.
But I'm saying you can, like the arguments that you make against Julius Randle. That's fine. I get that. In a perfect world, you want Julius Randle to do something different. But what I'm saying is, on this current team, the way it's constructed, he pretty much has to be that because they don't have anybody else outside of RJ Barrett. They don't have anybody else outside of RJ Barrett to slash like that. They don't have They don't have a point guard that can get to the paint whenever he wants. They don't have that.
I like to go after God.
Okay, cool.
But I gotta go. So I'll see you guys next time.
Yo, peace out, Josh. We about to be out anyway.
Peace out, Josh.
Peace out, Josh.
Later, guys.
Yo, peace out, Josh. Thanks for joining, man.
But I just want I gotta keep things in context. I just feel that when it comes to first, you ask me when you ask me stuff like, does Julius Randle lead to team wins? He's over. That's the thing. I'm like, wait a minute, you're blaming him for the losses? Like it shouldn't. I don't think that's a fair question to ask. Hey, Julius Randle doesn't lead the Knicks to wins. We don't. He's not a good fit. That means that you're hating on the guy. If you ask me personally, because I never look.
All right. Thank you, God. We're gonna end the show. So again, you're not listening, but it's fine. Thank you guys for coming on because I can't do this thing with Julius Randle anymore. If I say something objective or I say my opinion,
objective. I don't think that's
but everything you said has been subjective. I do not hate on any of these players.
I'm not saying
that. Randle. Again, Isaiah, when you were here, remember the episode that Sim had on the free agency at the deadline on a Sunday, right?
Yep.
What I want the people saying that I like Julius Randle coming to the Knicks?
Yo, bro, I'll be real with you, yo. I remember you did. We all did. I like Julius Randle when he first got here. I thought he was going to
saying that. I don't hate on this guy, bro.
I'm not saying, look, I'm being honest, but I got to keep it honest with you, Guillermo. I got to keep it honest.
You're not being honest. You're being biased. All right, fair enough.
God,
you're just being biased.
No. If you criticize his game, I think that's fair. But when you say, if I say something like, hey, listen, Frank doesn't lead the team to wins, that I don't think that's fair for me. I'm being fair to Frank because that's not fair with that kind of roster. I don't think it's fair if you ask me.
Okay, fair enough. Again, when I see Julius Randle play, he giveth and he taketh. And the sad thing about him is that he could be a better. And I'm not saying he has to be scoring 30 points a game. And I'm not even saying he has to be the guy that he has to put. But again, his style of play. If Walt Clyde Frazier is literally there saying, yo, and this is why the Knicks fans, you think it's just me watching Julius Randle? That's just me sitting there saying, yo, bro, this guy, a major part of his game leads to a lot of stupid turnovers. It stifles the offense. Forget if we have.
I think that's fair. That's a good argument. I think that's fair. But I'm not. No. Right, when you say stuff like, "Hey, listen," if I say stuff like, "Hey, listen, Frank, we should trade Frank because he hasn't helped the team to win in the last 3 years." I don't think that's a fair take.
Guy, when I'm talking about Julius Randle, and again, See, this is what I like about you, God. You don't listen. Frank, DSJ, Knox, Peyton, whoever the hell you want. I said if they're not performing, if they don't fit this team, the team's vision, you trade them. I don't give a F about any of these guys if they're not producing. It's funny because I get called a Knox hater because I criticize Knox. I get called a Frank hater because I said Frank should have played in the summer league, right?
I
get called
a hater. I don't know you to be a hater.
Teams.
But first of all, okay, in my point of view, I don't know you to be a hater. But when you say stuff like, "Hey, listen, this guy is not helping," this guy in particular is not helping the team win. That's why we should trade him. Then I'm like, listen, that's not you're not giving him a fair chance. You're not giving him a fair chance.
But God, wait, hold on. I want to say something, Demo.
Go ahead.
So, God, here's one thing you don't understand, right? So before, right? I don't know if you was on the show, but I legit even thought Randall could have been an all-star for us. That's how, and I remember Guillermo said like he liked Duke because he played good on the Pelicans. I mean, I don't understand where you're missing the point that there's a lot of things Randall does that I'm sorry, a player that's in the game as long as he's been, who has played with the great Kobe Bryant, who has played with a great player like Anthony Davis, who has played with great players, still does stuff that a rookie or a second-year player should be doing is really disturbing. I mean, dude, he literally ran into a triple T.
I agree with you. I agree with that take. That's a fair take. That's a good. You made some good points. Those spin moves, they're very boneheaded plays. Hey, listen, there are a couple of dumb plays. But when you talk about wins and losses and team wins and team losses, like it's, that's
okay. But God. This is what I'm saying, right? And salute to Kai's coach. I'm not saying I'm not the only one that says that. I'm just pointing out that you guys have been saying this way before me. Whatever. I'm just saying that I've seen it, and I'm watching this guy, and I'm like, okay, when I talk about teams wins and losses, I'm going to talk about potential as well too. And not even just that. Forget teams and losses by the numbers. What I'm talking about is development and the offense, right? When Randall is out there, and it's not every game. Again, he had a good game yesterday. He had a very good game, and I said if he played like that, I would take that every day of the week. When I'm watching Randall, he has one of the highest uses on the team. Now, people say RJ has high uses, but RJ does not have as low as an IQ on many of his plays like Randall does. When I see second game, Pistons game, for instance, one tell me that's how low IQ of a play he had, right? And again, he was lucky to get this off. He's in the post. Double team comes his way. Y'all say we don't have shooters and other stuff, right? Okay, but you have Bullock come around. I know people want to kill Bullock for yesterday, but there were games where Bullock was giving us threes, launching threes, hitting them for us, right? This dude literally ignores Bullock and passes it to the other wing. In a game against better players, they're going to steal that ball, bro. In game against better defenders, they're going to steal that ball. That's a low IQ play that I've seen Randall mess up time and time again. How many times have you seen Randall turn into the baseline off of a I'm not saying you've never played basketball. You probably have. Or you guys have, right? Can someone in this chat ever tell me when you've been in a double team and you turn to the baseline to make a pass, cross-country pass on the baseline to the other corner? Please, somebody tell me if that's a play that a coach has ever given you guys. Please let me know. I want to see what coach has ever do that in basketball.
I like these points you're making. I'm just going to keep it. I want to keep it on.
I said the same point when he tried to make that pass to Frank.
I like these points. I agree. I'm okay with these arguments you're making. That's what I agree with those arguments you're making.
The thing about Randall to me is not that Randall's not talented. The more reason why I'm upset with Randall because he is talented. But he sits there and he does stupid things that have nothing to do with the game. That yes, this team, even if he does the right things, the team could still possibly be losing. But I put money on it. Some of the things that Randall does, if he did less of them, the team would probably be incrementally better with him doing it. And I would literally sit there and say, re-sign Randall tomorrow. We need a power forward. We need a big man. If Randall could play the five as a small five, I'll let him do that. My bad. I mean, let him go. My bad, guy. I didn't cut you off if I did. My bad, bro. This guy, DG Film, screw you, man. This guy's just trolling me. But go ahead, guy.
No, I didn't cut you off. No. Listen, I agree with you. I just don't feel it's fair to take when you're talking about this team and Randall only has 1 year so far, and then you say, hey, listen, I was like this. That's the only one criticism I had with you. I'm like, listen, this guy's talking like that's just not fair. The team wins and team losses is just that's the only one. When you said that, when you asked me those questions, like, listen. Randall doesn't help the team win. Now, if you now the argument you were making now, the points you were making, fair points. I never had a problem with those points. But when it talks about team wins and team losses and the way the roster's constructed, I'm like, listen, you can't win with this roster.
And screw you, Joe, man. You're supposed to be up in here. You left to go eat the rest of your lasagna, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because I know you kill Rand all the time. I would love to see you and God go at it, man. Because dude, God.
Nah. I'm good. I'm good with that. I don't. With the stuff he said, I'm good.
What did he say? I just thought he don't want Randall.
The what?
That he doesn't want Randall. I just thought he doesn't want Randall. What else he say about Randall?
Nah, I don't know. There's stuff. You know, I'm gonna front like there's stuff that people saying that's kind of throwing me off. That I'm not cool with. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I don't mind talking basketball, but I feel like things are getting like.
Oh, me personally, I never go after anybody's money.
No.
Because he got me pissed. But I don't go. I try to go at nobody's money, nobody's children, nobody's wives, nobody's personal life. You know what I mean? I think that Randall, again, to me, and look, here's a caveat, or not the caveat, but here's an excuse I'll give to Randall. He's never had proper coaching, right? He's never really had proper development, but he's developed by himself. This is the thing I'm trying to say with Randall. Talk about Randall all you want. He made that leap with the Lakers, right? And became a more productive player. Right, so it's not as if he doesn't know that his game had flaws or he needs to improve his game, right? So again, now see everybody tell him to come on Knicks at night. Why is my show supposed to be like Donahue? People don't want to fight my show. That's
no.
It was more calm.
I'm gonna tell you what's becoming a peeve of mine. Like,
my bad, Joe. My bad. Do you think, man? Go ahead.
I wasn't actually like direct you now. I don't even know if I even want to put it on the show. Maybe after the show ends, I can have a conversation with you, like. Because I actually, the way you talk, I'm cool with it. Even though, like, look, right now, like we were going back and forth. You don't have to disrespect me, and I don't have to disrespect you. We talk about it, and then we figure out, oh, okay, this works, and this is what it. But like this stuff that that people say that I'm like, hold on, though, like that's not cool with me. Like,
all right, we'll talk about it later. But yo, guys,
yeah.
Thank you guys for coming on, Josh, Isaiah. God Moses Elijah, Sim was here. You had TL in here. You had Chuck B in here. You had Joe in here for a little bit, man. So again, I appreciate you guys coming in, man. Again, I'll be covering the game tomorrow. Again, I don't mind you guys having debates or if it's just let everybody talk and all that stuff. And me personally, I apologize to God because there are many times I was the conversation going on. So I apologize on my end. I apologize.
Your worst is fine with me, but I don't know how like. Let me talk with you, because I'm like,
thank you guys for coming on. We'll be here. I'll be here tomorrow, man. Oh, I had another super chat. My bad. Invert the Great. Yo, thank you for the $15, man. Yo, all y'all support, man. I know y'all think I'm being facetious. I honestly look forward to doing this like every day. You know what I mean? So again, this is all fun for me, man. Thank you guys. I'll probably be on Blarn's Tears because. You got to get your fights in. But yo, salute to you, Josh, man. He said I lost it. I didn't lose to him. I was pointing out the team. He said, "Oh, every team's supposed to have a point." Josh's points, man. But anyway, salute to you guys, man. Hopefully, I see you tomorrow as I cover the preseason game, and I'll also be covering the first game of the season, and I'll also be trying to put out some more videos. I wanted to put out a freaking RJ Barrett video, but freaking Fubo screwed me over, so I got Fire Stick. I'm about to set that up. Screwball, you messed up big time, man. You messed up big time, messed up that game. But salute you guys, man. Hopefully I see you later on, God, man. Stay up, bro. Smile, man. This guy's looking angry, bro. Like somebody. Like, come on. Yeah.
No. I want to talk to you. I just want to talk to you real quick.
All right. Yo, peace out, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, man. Peace.